Yeah. Locally for the Carolinas. This is the Rob Brown Show.
The fan of states.
Thank God it's. Thank God it's. It is time, as the kids say, to boogie. I don't think the kids say it anymore. Doesn't matter what the kids say.
How many kids do you know?
It's a weird way to ask that question. Like a lot. But like, because all my friends got kids, you know?
Oh, okay.
All good kids, by the way. All good kids. Nothing better than being the funkle. Where I can have fun, and then when the kids turn into temper tantrum throwing tyrants, I can just go, see ya. Go to the bar. You have a great night. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Rob Brown Show on the radio. And I can say we've made it because the show is started. We have gotten past the proverbial first snap, and Lonzo did not spit on me. So we're off to a better start than Jalen Carter's season is.
Would you like me to?
No.
Because I'm not going to do that.
You know,
there have been some guys that I've worked with that, I might consider doing that, but I also might have considered throwing the hardest elbow that I could.
I think everybody's got their things they're into that might be viewed as weird by other people.
That's not what I meant. I just want to point that out. I meant violent.
Everybody's got their things. The Rob Brown Show does not kink shame. All right, we're here for you to live your best life.
You hear that, furries?
You hear that, furries? Except you. But everybody else, we're not here to kink
Sorry
shame.
for finding your exception right away.
Every rule has an exception. Furries are mine. We're not here to kink shame. If you're one of those people that likes getting spit on, hey, live your best life. Don't keep it away from me, but live your best life. Not here to judge.
No,
right?
I am. That makes no sense. But okay.
That's the
you just want to
kink.
be disrespected, and that makes you feel better.
Some people get
their jollies from being disrespected. That's like a whole genre of behavior. Let's use the word behavior because there might be kids listening. Some people like being disrespected. They consider being degraded a turn on, if you will. I'm just saying, if that's your thing, that's your thing. I'm not here to judge. It's just not for me or Dak Prescott.
If you are a kid listening, please change the channel right now. I mean, find something. Old episodes of Barney or the Wiggles or something. I don't know.
Listen, kids, one day you're going to become an adult and you're going to find somebody that you love very much or that you really like a lot after a couple of shots.
I just realized something. You're 40. So kids to you are people in their 30s.
I mean, people in their late 20s, 30s, they're getting there or they're way already there. I don't know. Listen, the point of all of this is don't spit on people unless you have their consent. Okay, if they give you consent, do your thing. It's your life. I'm not here to judge. If they don't give you their consent or they're playing quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys, don't spit on them.
I don't know what's worse, being spat upon or being slapped in the face. I don't know which is worse. I think they're about equal.
There are some people who get turned on by getting slapped in the face.
Where are you going this morning?
Probably, if I had to guess,
to the unemployment
online. That was the weirdest start to a game in a very long time. Yeah, that's what I said to the TV last night. I'm
sure those are your exact words.
No, they were not. I was like way more, let's say, animated and FCC non-compliant.
I already told you my thoughts. My thoughts was, oh, great. It's a great look for the league that this is it. Everyone's eyes are on this game, and this is one of the first things that you see.
Well, I mean, that's a Georgia guy for you. And it's a Georgia cat for you.
I thought Georgia guys were only famous for getting arrested for speeding. And, well, I guess in other things, but getting arrested. I guess if you spit on someone in public, you're probably going to get arrested.
I mean,
okay.
It is
right.
definition of battery, I believe. I believe that spitting on someone without their consent and outside of the confines of your bedroom, do your thing. I believe that is the definition of battery. I don't know. I could be wrong. Here's what I do know. I wasn't unimpressed with the Dallas Cowboys last night. Good win for the Eagles, but I was not unimpressed with the Dallas Cowboys. Also,
by the way, spitting on someone is assault. It's not bad. Battery is just throwing up the birds in someone's face.
Oh, so I got the definitions backwards.
Yeah, you did.
All right, there you go. The point here is,
and I agree. I was sold a bill of goods that Jerry Jones had ruined this team to the degree that they would be unwatchable. And I saw a very entertaining game until the rain delay happened.
Let's also point out, though, the critique isn't that the Cowboys are a bad football team. It's that they just never win in the playoffs, right? Like, there's a long way between here and the NFC Championship game. But I was impressed. I was impressed by the run game for the Dallas Cowboys last night. I was impressed. I mean, hell, I was impressed by the run defense for the Cowboys last night. Saquon Barkley, 60 yards. Jalen Hurts, 62 on the ground. Also, is Jalen Hurts like Michael Vick's kid? Because, damn, little buddy was scrambling last night. Well, he was fun.
That's what I think that should happen a lot more often in college football and pro football. When the window is open, run through that window. I mean, a lot of those guys hesitate. He didn't hesitate last night. You would think first game, you don't want to do that first game. He was gone.
I hope somebody shows Lenora Sellers that film.
Me too.
Is all I'm saying.
Me too.
I hope somebody shows Lenora Sellers that film because goodness gracious, Jalen Hurts was a machine last night for the Philadelphia Eagles. 62 rushing yards.
Should I do a wellness check on Cole later?
No, I mean, like he had to say. Here's what I'll say about Cowboys fans this morning. Honestly, I got to think even with an L, I got to think you walk away probably more optimistic about your team than you walked into that game.
See, I look at this like Ohio State and Texas. It's the same way. Was Dallas improved or was Philly's defense that bad? We won't know. The sample size is so small, but in the end, the game itself, if you like scoring, it was good. And then it turned, second half, they started making adjustments, which you do. And so scoring was limited in the second half, but I thought it was a very entertaining game. A lot of cheap shots, a lot of fighting, everything you need to see, you saw last night.
No, I think it was a great game. I thought it was a good enough game that I stayed up through a 1 hour and 25 minute rain delay to finish it.
Yeah, I know.
I stayed up.
It was some extra struggle this morning for me.
All right, I think you're being dramatic about that.
No, I had to restructure an entire thing because it was like, if I read this, he's going to get up and walk out of the room because it was bad.
All right, whatever. Point is,
you made me
game.
have to do some research. Is that tag supposed to stay on there?
On my hat?
Yeah.
What tag's still on there?
On the inside.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Sure, why not? I don't know. I'm not a fashion icon.
I'm not a hat guy. I mean, the hat's amazing. I don't know. I mean, the color coordination, I feel like I'm back to 5 years ago.
Picked up the new polo last night and then decided to go, what if I go early 2000s frat boy? And I nailed it, to be honest with you.
I still think the hat's too big. I get it's the style. And I will never have a hat that's too big. I mean, that's just genetically impossible, but still, it just,
I thought the game was entertaining. The game was entertaining enough that I stayed up through a 1 hour and 25 minute rain delay.
What time was it over?
Oh, God, I don't know. Midnight. Slightly after midnight.
Okay, not as late as I thought.
No, it wasn't that bad. And again, like as a game, if it wasn't for the rain delay, relatively quick moving game because it was so ground based. It was such a rushing contest last night.
I was thinking, man, I might get through the majority of this game tonight and then, penalties and then the rain. Yeah.
Sans a rain delay. It was a relatively quick game.
It wasn't a rain delay. It was a lightning delay. We don't. I mean, it's not. We're not in South Carolina. It's not the South Carolina High School League where it's rain. We got to move. This was lightning. That's
sans a weather delay. It was not a bad game. It was not an unentertaining game. I think if you are a Dallas Cowboys fan, you are probably more, despite taking an L in week 1, 8.5-point dog, you lose 24-20. Despite taking an L, I think you're probably more optimistic about your team today than you were yesterday at the exact same time, because it wasn't a bad performance. And we talked about the Jalen Carter spit at the beginning of the game. Let's talk about the end of the game. CeeDee Lamb dropped not one, not two. CeeDee Lamb dropped 3 balls last night they just have to be catches. They have to be catches. Drop 3. He knew what he did. Cowboys fans what he knew. I don't think there's a guy on planet Earth more upset about the CeeDee Lamb drops than CeeDee Lamb, except maybe Dak Prescott. Because the 3 that he dropped in the fourth quarter, any one of those 3 catches give Dallas a very good chance to extend that football game. And CeeDee was just off the mark last night. It was a weird night. Like A.J. Brown, I don't think A.J. Brown got targeted until the fourth quarter. I think A.J. Brown, which was hilarious because the wife is playing in her first fantasy football league this year. She's never played fantasy before. And at the new job, they set up a fantasy league. And so she got in. So we were sitting on the couch a handful of minutes before kickoff last night because I told her, hey, you got to get your lineup set. If you got any Eagles or any Cowboys on there, you better get your lineup set right now. And so she was kind of like asking me for a little bit of help. And while I will not play fantasy football, I am always willing, of course, to provide suggestions, guidance, and advice, especially to my favorite person. So we were sitting there doing the fantasy stuff, and she said, A.J. Brown. And I said, oh, yeah, no, he's pretty much an auto start every week. Like he's going, if the Eagles are playing and he's healthy, you start him every week. So we're watching the game on the couch last night, and it gets to be halftime. And A.J. Brown did not have a target in the first half of that game. And she's like, why aren't they throwing to A.J.? I'm like, well, they're picking him up in some double teams. Dallas is trying to remove him from the game plan. Obviously, they came in with, we're going to run the ball. And if nobody is open, Jalen's going to run. She's like, well, that's dumb. They should throw it to him. I said, yeah, welcome to fantasy football, man. Welcome to fantasy football. Anyway, point is, it was a very weird game last night. It was a good game. It was an entertaining game. We got it started with one of maybe the most important Eagle defender getting the boot for spitting on Dak. And before any of you hit me with the Han shot first defense, you understand that while in the heat of the moment, it may not feel this way. Spitting on the ground in front of a dude is not the same as spitting on a dude. If you would like to test my theory, go downtown, find the biggest SOB in town, and spit at his feet, then spit on his shirt. And let me know how that works out for you. There is a difference. I am going to say, I actually did say to myself last night, I think Dak Prescott might be Lonzo's favorite non-Chief last night because that was the best rage-baiting IRL I've ever seen in my friggin' life, dude. Dak knew every button to push of Jalen Carter's. He pushed every one of those buttons, and he got the best defensive tackle on either team last night, the boot from the contest.
Or there's like a stray hay or something that flew in and got in Dak's mouth, and he had to get it out. You don't want grass in your mouth, and so you just spit the grass out.
The key to getting away to rage baiting like that is by maintaining plausible deniability.
Works for me every time.
So when Dak is standing face to face with Jalen Carter and he hits the old Hawk Tua, and spits on the ground, and then Jalen hits the old Hawk Tua and spits on that thing being number 4 in this case, yeah, Jalen's going to catch the boot, my dude. Of course, you can't spit on a dude. I don't care if he could call you mama fat. He could call you dog ugly. He could call you sister easy. It does not matter. He could spit in, well, I shouldn't say spit in you. Again, that's back to that behind closed doors thing. He can spit all over the football field. You can. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm gonna stand on that.
Yeah, that one. I think that one went to one.
There's nothing wrong with that. Okay. It's weird, but it's real life.
Let's go down there later and have a discussion.
If a dude spits on the football field, I don't care if he's looking you dead in your eye when he does it. You can't spit on a guy, Jalen. This doesn't feel like one of those things where you call Jalen Carter in the locker room and you go, all right, buddy, teachable moment here. Okay? Teachable moment. You can't spit on a guy. All right? Now you know you're like, no, you learned that lesson in elementary school. All right? Like every one of us as a kid spit on another kid and took 5 to the face because of it. All right? You don't spit on people.
I never did that.
Well, Lonzo, you're just better than all of us.
No, I don't. You said, I mean, I don't think people do that normally.
You don't think children spit on other children out of rage?
It must be a Florida thing because you didn't do that stuff in my neighborhood.
Your teachers threw chairs at you.
Yeah, you might have dead. I'm not doing that.
Don't you nose in the air your haughty intellectual neighborhood at us?
No, but there are lines that we didn't cross, and that would be one of them.
So it started weird. I thought Jalen Hurts was remember, my whole thing I was going with, and I'll stand on business. I'll own it if I'm owning it. One of the reasons that I said I think I'm taking a long shot odd with the Commanders to win this division was I think that this year, and by the way, holding Saquon to Barkley to 60 yards, I think any team that plays the Eagles, if you say you're going to hold Saquon Barkley to 60 rushing yards, I think any team in the league would go, hell yeah, that's a good day. That's a real good day. I think they'd be very pleased with that. And the thought was, if they're going to do that, what they're going to do is demand that if the Eagles are going to win, they are going to win on the arm of Jalen Hurts. Well, the arm of Jalen Hurts wasn't bad last night at all. But more importantly, dude was running around like a video game character who just picked up the special turbo boost icon, man. Like just getting out of the pocket, getting up the field, running intelligently, sliding down before he was taking contact. I got to tell you, again, you don't want to react to week 1. We said it about college football last week. We'll say it about last night today. We'll say it about tonight, tomorrow. We'll say it about Saturday, Sunday. We'll say it a lot about Sunday on Monday. You do not want to overreact to week 1. But I don't think it is inappropriate to look at what Jalen Hurts did last night and say, bruh, that's pretty good. Intelligent running, smart running, going down, avoiding contact, understanding when the pocket had collapsed, moving to the outside, recognizing contain is broken or it is not. My only thought for the Dallas Cowboys last night, how much different does that defense look if you had a 4-time Pro Bowl edge rusher who could set off the edge and then run Jalen Hurts down? I'm just saying, Dallas, if you would have had a 4 consecutive time edge rushing Pro Bowler last night, maybe that game looks different. It's just it's a gosh darn rootin' tootin' shame that you didn't. All right. Take a break. We got a lot of football to break down. Looking ahead to the weekend. No Rashad Beard today. He is out on vacation today. We do have the fellas from the Moving the Chains pod coming on at 9 o'clock to set you up for the high school football weekend. Outside of that, best bets, quad box, whatever y'all want to get to on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate. Jersey Joe, good morning. Big Zach, good morning. Yeah, the under was a sweat last night. You're not wrong. Well, Dak baited. Yeah, of course he. No, I was not just did he bait. I would say I'm not going to make the joke I wanted to make there. I was going to say he baited him and he was a master at it, but I'll leave that alone because I'm classy this morning and every morning. Stay right there, guys. Be right back. All right, dudes, we're back. NFL game number 1 in the books, 24-20. The reigning defending get a W to open up the season last night after a 14-point opening quarter, after a 27 points in the second quarter. We had one field goal scored in the second half. Now, in fairness, in the second half, we did have a 1 hour and 25-minute rain delay that kept both teams in the locker room. Did you see the so it happened during the break, so I don't know if you got a chance to see it, but there was a very funny moment that happened, and I tried to find the sound of it, the sound from the break-in during the game last night. But there was a very funny moment, apparently, during the 1 hour and 25-minute lightning delay that took place. When the teams were brought back into the locker rooms, Trayvon Diggs, the starting cornerback for the Dallas Cowboys, apparently at one point, he came out of the locker room And people were like, yo, what are you doing? Your team's in the locker room. And apparently Trayvon Diggs told people, I'm hungry. And then he started walking around, including just in his pants, like in his football pants. They had taken their pads off, obviously. So he's in just like a white spandex undershirt and his very clearly silver with pads in them Dallas Cowboys pants. Apparently, he just walked into somebody's club, like club level seating, catered food area, and was like, y'all got any food? I'm hungry. And the guys and gals in there were like, yeah, come on in. So Trayvon was just like hanging out for a minute.
Was it? So this was he went into a Philadelphia fan?
They didn't
thing?
specify,
Okay.
but I have to assume they were in Philly. And
it doesn't mean Dallas didn't have some
correct,
people
but
to travel,
I'm just working on the assumption. But apparently, right before, as he was walking in and talking to whoever it was, private suite that he was rolling up into, apparently a food cart was rolling down the hallway, and he turned and he looked at them. And I feel bad because I don't remember the young lady's name, but the sideline reporter was back in the tunnel during the weather delay. And she said that the food cart was rolling by and Trayvon Diggs was like, yo, can I get a Sammy up off the food cart?
It wasn't Jamie Erdahl, was it?
It may have been. I don't remember. He's like, yo, can I get a Sammy up off the food cart? And the attendant pushing the food cart was like, yeah, actually, we're bringing these into your locker room. Like, this is for the team. And she said Trayvon was like, yeah, and got real happy. And so he's walking back. They actually showed video of the hallway that leads from the field back to the locker room. And there was video of Trayvon just like walking down the hallway, looking around. So my guy took a break from the locker room, went into just some fans' club to get food. Then he saw the food cart, asked about the food cart. They're like, actually, this is for you. Like, this is for the team. Got really excited. And, of course, the obvious question we all needed to know was...
I'm going to risk this. Hold on.
Okay, I'm waiting.
Yeah,
Is this audio from it?
Eagles locker room as soon as we have it. And there you see Trayvon just wandering around, Mike.
Yeah, so the story was a little bit before that. If you back it up a minute.
The clip is only...
Oh, gotcha, okay.
I'll keep trying.
Yeah, so she basically says...
That was actually on the TikTok, and I don't have the TikTok.
On the TikTok. It's on the TikTok. So he came out, it goes in the locker room. They're like, yeah, we got food for you. Come on in. Sees the food cart. The food cart attendant's like, yeah, actually, this is for your football team. Like, we're actually taking this to your locker room. He gets all excited. And then, because she knows exactly what the next question is, which was, well, what was on the food cart that got him all excited? Uncrustables. Apparently, he got all gacked up because there were Uncrustables.
I got to say, from listening to the Kelsey podcast, from the way they explain it, Uncrustables is the favorite thing of all the NFL.
Yeah, I've heard that before. I think it's true in the NBA too. I heard every NBA player has a podcast now, and I've heard on a lot of them that it is pretty common for charter flights for NBA teams flying to and from away games to be loaded down with Uncrustables.
I've never had one before.
You get them right there at the Wally World, man. Come in a big old box.
I know I've seen them. I've never went, you know what? I think I'll buy one of these.
I am going to say.
Have you had Uncrustables?
No, I have not. I have not had Uncrustables because
This sounds like an easy taste test for us. I mean,
it's a friggin' peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
I know, but it's like frozen. So how do you? Do you have to throw it in the microwave?
I got no idea because here's the deal. Here's one of my recently developed old guy takes. If you want a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, make one, you child. Okay? You're an adult. I'm relatively sure you don't need to be a millionaire to buy loaf of bread, peanut butter, and jelly.
Yeah, but they look like pies.
It's a peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
Do you put them in a toaster? Do you?
I don't know, and I will never find out.
Okay, well, I guess I won't buy us any then.
Because I am an adult. And if I want a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, and by the way,
This is probably the worst old guy take you've ever had. Because you're going up against the entire NFL.
I don't care.
Okay, all right.
As I told one of my dear friends last night, she's a Cowboys fan. She was texting me back and forth during the game, and she's like, did that grown man really just spit on another grown man? And I'm like, I think you need to remember that while we look at these guys as superhuman superheroes, and they are, a lot of them are dumbasses, dude. Like, Jalen Carter is an idiot. He's just an idiot. He has a career history of just being an idiot. So, it's this, I don't know why this is one of those spots that I have fallen into. I'm just an old guy now. But like, if you want a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, have one. And then the old guy take is, if you, as a full-grown adult human being, and let me be clear, I'm talking to the adults, all right? Not your elementary school kids. I'm talking to the adults. If you're a full-grown adult human being who goes, I want a sandwich, but can you cut the crust off? I don't like the crust. Grow up.
All right. So
grow up.
I think economic status comes into play. I think when you're rich, it's like a point of power, probably. So are you're not okay with it where you're just, I mean, you're rich enough that you want to give the person who's employed by you something to do. And so you tell
this
them
is listen, I'm going to stop you right there. I'm going to call timeout. You have made some dumb let's make Rob look like a rich a-hole takes, and I appreciate the gimmick. I always have. This is the worst one ever.
This wasn't about you. This is above you because this is kind of rich that you don't know. So
if you are an adult person who goes, I want a sandwich, but not if the crust is on the bread. Grow up, dude. What are we? You make the sandwich, eat the sandwich. Peanut butter and jelly is the definition of like that simple, easy, make it quick and on the fly to have something to eat meal. And I can't have the crust. If you're 7, that makes sense. If you're 7, that's a good call. If you're a grown-up adult, just make the sandwich and eat it. What are we doing here with Uncrustables? An entire food industry based around, well, if you buy our product for 3 times the cost of just making peanut butter and jelly sandwiches at home, you don't have to have the crust on it.
By the way, they
up.
They have chocolate Uncrustables, which also known as a chocolate pie, I think.
Again, just make them at the crib. You can get Hershey's chocolate bars and just make. What are we doing? I got nothing, man. I don't know. Listen, I apologize. I sincerely apologize. I don't know why this is a spot that I feel the need to turn into everybody's least favorite grandparent for a minute. But here I am. If you are the person who goes, I won't eat the Sammy if the crust is on it, you're a child. I got nothing, man. I don't know why this is my spot.
So you're talking about me. You're going off on peanut butter and jelly. Okay.
No, I am pro peanut butter and jelly. I am anti people who won't eat PB&J if the crust is on the bread. Why do we call it crust? It's not even crust. It's not crunchy.
Well, it is. It's like a pie crust for sure. I'm still talking about Uncrustables, but how is it uncrustable?
So how is there an entire multi-billion-dollar industry built around, hey, are you an adult who never grew up to be an adult? We'll cut the crust off for you.
Can we squeeze in this phone call before we take a break?
Sure we can.
Okay, we have Dale.
Dale, welcome back to the show, big fella. Good to have you. What's happening, my guy?
Bob Brown, man of the people.
Always.
Hey, real quick. Trayvon Diggs is in fact 7. Take a look at his number.
He did what now?
Wow.
Trayvon Diggs is in fact 7. Take a look at his number.
Oh, okay. All right. I got it. All right.
I thought it was great, Dale. I thought it was great.
That's a joke that I would make, so I appreciate it, Dale.
He's in the middle of a tirade, so he doesn't recognize humor.
I got it now. I got it.
That's okay. You gotta give the vision to the people.
I respect it, Dale. I respect it. I appreciate it. Thank you, buddy.
No, you don't. Listen to you.
I'm really up in my feelings about the existence of Uncrustables. I don't know why.
Look at the stream.
Yeah, no. Tiger Truther said, quote, try the damn Uncrustable and you'll understand. You know what, Zoe? You know what? If you would like, and I'm being deadly serious about this.
I need to get them because you'll never remember.
Let me finish my sentence.
Okay, all right.
If you would like, and I am being deadly serious about this. If in like an hour, let's say in like the 8 o'clock hour, if you want to take a segment, I will take over the board to run to the gas station across the street because I'm 90% sure they have them. If you would like to take a segment to go, wherever. If you would like to take a segment to go find us Uncrustables, we will do it today.
I've got a better idea. At least I think so. If he's not here yet, I could text Chris and tell him I'll give him money if he stops and gets Uncrustables.
Fair. I mean, if we end up, I'll take over the board. You can go do it. We can text Chris, whatever. If there ends up being an Uncrustable in this studio, I will eat it on the air. And if I eat it and I go, dear God in sandwich heaven, this is the greatest sandwich of my life, then you will listen to Rob Brown, as I have done very frequently on the air, completely reverse course. But until that happens, in what world have we propped up this company whose entire existence is, we'll cut the crust off since you're too old to ask your mommy to do it anymore. Mommy, I don't like the crust. And can you cut it diagonal? Because I don't like it when it's cut down the middle. I need you to take the crust off and cut it diagonal, Mommy. Grow up. This was a weird segment of radio, but I won't apologize for it. Back after this, we'll actually talk football maybe on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate.
What is wrong
if
with
I'm
you?
not fired after that, boys, I have infinite job security.
Oh, no, that's...
We're doing a false start feature on the Chiefs today? We are. We're doing a false start feature. I love it.
Is that guy even with the team anymore? I'm being serious. We got new tackles, man. I don't think – I guess he may still be there. I try to block out his name. Even my wife gets angry when she sees he's on the field. He's very passionate about crusts and peanut butter and stuff. He went at the entire NFL. You might as well have just spit
on him.
You spat
Hawk
on the NFL.
2 with the whole NFL. BRB, dudes. What a weird ass Monday. Yes, Cruz, I am in my feelings.
It's not Monday. You said what a weird Monday. No wonder it's Friday, dude.
I thought I said what a weird day.
It sounds no. Well,
No.
okay. We don't have tape to play back on this case.
Free endorsement. I went to local Q for wings last night. Their wings are the best in the game.
Did you get the tots?
Yeah. Oh
Yeah,
God,
yeah,
I crushed them.
Yeah, those tots are. There's too many. It's
dude.
Yeah.
So it was me and the guy I played golf with and our wives. We went to local Q last night just because it's a couple friend of ours we haven't seen them in a while. So we went to local Q and I got 10 wings. I got Memphis Red, Carolina Gold, and Alabama white sauce, right? And then I was like, can I get a side of tots? And the lady's like, just so you know, because Dan, my guy I was golfing with, he got a side of tots too. And she's like, oh, just so you know, like they're pretty big size. And I was like, we just played golf. I'm starving. We'll be fine. Bro, they bring you like a pound and a half
it's
of
like
tater
a whole,
tots.
It's like a whole bag of tater tots.
It's a freaking bag of tater. Yeah. They set it down, and Dan and I were both like, we should have just got one. And then we both ate 10 wings and that entire basket of tots. I feel like butthole today, dude.
For some reason, those tots complement the
They're
wings
perfect.
complement. Yeah,
it's because they I figured it out. It says it on the menu. They shake the tater tots, and I don't know if they do it before they cook them, after they cook them, whatever. They shake it in dry rub barbecue.
Yeah.
Holy crap, dude. The only way that's better, and I guess they could have done this, those with nacho cheese and bacon bits on top would be the perfect football snack. I might start doing that at the house.
Yeah, last time we went there, I got the same exact, not the same. I got all dry rub for my wings, but still, I got those tots. They set them down like,
dude.
Oh.
Yeah, it's a whole meal.
And then you think you're going to share till you take a bite, and it's like, no, I'm not sharing.
I ate the whole friggin' basket. I felt like a piece of trash, but it was delightful. The National Football League resumes this evening because we shan't be disrespectful and overlook tonight's football contest live from Corinthians Arena in Sao Paulo, Brasilia. The Kansas City Chiefs taking on the Los Angeles Superchargers. Then a full Sunday slate. NFC South matchup right out of the gate. Tampa at Atlanta, Cincinnati's at Cleveland, Miami at Indy, Las Vegas at New England. The Cardinals at the Saints, the Pittsburgh Steelers at the New York Jets. You think the NFL doesn't know what they're doing? It's an entertainment-based league, people. Of course they do. The Jets hosting Aaron Rodgers and the Steelers. The G-Men and the Commanders, the Panthers, down in the butthole of America, Jacksonville, Florida, to take on the Jags in your early window. Your afternoon window, Tennessee at Denver, San Francisco at Seattle, Detroit at Green Bay at 4:25. Same with Houston at the LA Rams. And then Sunday Night Football, Baltimore is at Buffalo. Our first MNF of the year is a NFC North matchup between the Vikings and the Bears at Soldier Field.
I want to see Jets Steelers, and I want to see Detroit and Green Bay for sure, and Buffalo Baltimore for sure.
Buffalo Baltimore is going to be, I think, fantastic on Sunday night. That's a great way to wrap up Sunday night. Minnesota, I agree with the same thing. I'm also in on Tampa Bay Atlanta. Like that's probably not a matchup that is going to concern a whole lot of folks outside of the NFC South, at least not yet, unless one of these teams has genuinely gotten better. This probably doesn't do a lot for folks outside of the NFC South, but this one feels important. We did our divisional winners yesterday. I picked the Panthers to win the division. That's not a butt kiss and pick. That's a real pick. I made that pick on our syndicated show too. But I also think that Atlanta is a team that every year on paper ought to be competing for this division. I think that obviously Tampa Bay winning it multiple years in a row. This is a team that will probably be in the hunt for that divisional title again this year. I got to think at some point, going to your third consecutive offensive coordinator in your third consecutive year. Like at some point, the turnover has got to catch up with you. So this one's interesting because this one could say, hey, both of these teams are absolutely threats for the division. It could be a game where one or the other put on display. And again, you don't want to overreact to week one. When we come back on Monday, we will do actually Monday, where we will react to the overreactions of week one in the NFL, week two in college football. There's not a ton. I was having this conversation yesterday. Went and played golf with a buddy of mine, and then we all went out and got lunch. And he's a big Michigan guy. And we were having the conversation that Michigan-Oklahoma is kind of really the only sexy matchup in week two. Like, there are some interesting matchups for the sickos out there. Illinois at Duke, interesting matchup to me. There's a couple, Baylor at SMU, interesting matchup to me. But there's really only one highlight premier game, and it is Michigan at Oklahoma.
Yeah, I'm watching my team's weekend.
Yeah.
You know, the two teams that I pull for and the team that I pull against, because we have to talk about it on the air. I'll be watching those games. The other ones is like, okay.
It is a weekend. Like, ordinarily, if it's a big college football Saturday, you know, I tell the wife,
Why
you need to
took some of the games from last week and put them on this week and like spread it out a little bit.
Because they haven't made me the czar of scheduling yet. This is a week. Ordinarily, I tell the wifey, if you want something done, tell me Thursday so I can do it Friday before college football Saturday and NFL Sunday and Monday. I was like, hey, if you want to do anything Saturday, cool. Like, I'm good with it. Honestly, I can. The games I am most interested in, I think Illinois at Duke is interesting, but I think that's a game that is an interesting game if you're in sicko mode, right? I'm a sicko. I get it. I am too much. I am extra. Texter says Kansas versus Mizzou is interesting. I agree with that too, Texter. That is an interesting one too. I think it's an interesting game. Do I think ultimately it matters? Probably not.
What's the difference between interesting and must watch?
Must watch is implications on the national championship. Interesting is could have a say in what the playoffs look like, right? Like Duke, Illinois is interesting because and this has been the offseason take for the Blue Devils, is Manny Diaz a coach who, after failing miserably as the head coach at Miami, learned some lessons and is able to put them into place at Duke, a team that won 9 games last year? Or was this Manny Diaz got really lucky, took over for Mike Elko? Mike Elko was the best football coach in the history of Duke football and left behind a stacked roster for him to go win with. I think we'll find out this weekend. It's interesting because over on the other side, right? I've said already, I think it is possible, bold italicized and underlined for emphasis, I think it is possible that the Big Ten is a better conference at the top of the conference, like 2, maybe 3 teams deep. I think it is possible that between Penn State and Ohio State, those 2 teams may genuinely be better than Texas and Georgia at the top of the SEC. I think when you go top to bottom of the conference, the SEC is better. But here's a chance for Illinois. Granted, they're not playing an SEC school. They're playing an ACC school. But if Burt takes that squad into North Carolina and they go beat Duke by 24, if they go double up the spread on the Blue Devils, then I think at that point, Illinois will have earned the right to say we deserve to be mentioned with. Not that they do, but they'll have earned the right to say we deserve to be mentioned with Ohio State, Penn State, with Michigan, with the teams at the top of the Big Ten. They made that argument last year, and I think a lot of them tried to justify the bowl win with look at us like we're ready for the show. Illinois is absolutely a dark horse playoff team out of the Big Ten this year. Like, they are absolutely a team that could check in third in the Big Ten, could check in at 9-3, maybe 10-2, but probably 9-3. And if they check in at 9-3, if the Big Ten is it, then maybe Illinois is that 9-3 team that sneaks into the playoffs in an at-large spot. I don't know. That's what makes it interesting. Do I think Illinois or Duke are national championship contenders? Do I think that they are semifinals contenders? No, not really. But what I do know is most teams don't become that in a year, or at least without being a flash in the pan. If a team is going to climb into a spot where they are a year in, year out threat, it's a gradual process, right? It's a gradual process. And so when I look at teams like Illinois and Duke, do I think Duke is ever going to be a year in, year out annual threat? No. Here's what I do know. Duke has been willing to invest in their football program in a way that a lot of other basketball schools haven't. So that game is interesting because if Manny Diaz is a coach who learned from his mistakes at Miami, brought that to Duke, they went and they got themselves a quarterback. They're paying Duke's paying their quarterback the same amount of money Carson Beck is being paid at Miami right now. They're investing, right? Like they are willing to invest. So if they are willing to invest and Manny Diaz learned lessons at Miami, he brought to Duke. If Duke beats Illinois, now granted, there's still the scale of truth. Is it, oh crap, maybe Duke's actually a good football team now? Like not a powerhouse, but like Duke's a good football team. Or will we come back here on Monday and go, Burt is a fraud? Illinois is not that good. They lost to Duke. I don't know. Will we be able to find out from one game? I don't know. I don't think, and I wanted to say this yesterday when we were talking about, continuing to react to the week 1 AP top 25 and all that. Because we've spent a lot of time on Clemson LSU, on Ohio State Texas, on some of those games. And the reaction to a lot of those games, or the, reaction to a lot of the overreactions has been, look, I know it's a strong reaction. It's a gut reaction. I talked about this one with Horvat and Brad Evans last night on BetMGM tonight. There's reactions, there's overreactions, and then there's, but this is the most recent entry onto the pile. I saw that, and I thought this was interesting. Cole Bryson put on his Twitter, host of Wire to Wire with Diesel and Cole Bryson, every afternoon from 3 to 7 here on the Fan Upstate. Cole Bryson a couple of days ago, put up a very interesting tweet on his timeline the other day, where he went and he looked at the numbers for one Cade Klubnik. Cade Klubnik in his career versus the Southeastern Conference, Lonzo, just the SEC. I'm not including the loss to Ohio State last year. I'm not talking about the few ACC losses, just 2-5, 3 touchdowns, 8 interceptions.
Yeah, he showed me before he posted it.
Yeah.
So I saw it before anyone else did other than him.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So and this is what I said.
Were you shocked by the numbers?
I mean, yes and no. Like I knew they weren't good, but 3 to 8 tutty to pick ratio, 2-5 in games again. If you were doing those numbers and you were Cade Klubnik, but you were at North Carolina, I'd be like, it is what it is. But this is Clemson. So what I said last night,
the SEC defenses just mean more.
It does. What I said to Ryan and Brad last night, because Ryan hit me, he said, Rob, I was going to ask you about the LSU Clemson game, but I think Clemson's going to be fine. Cade's going to be fine, blah, blah, blah. And I said, whoa, hang on, Ryan. I said, I understand not wanting to overreact to week 1. But Dabo Swinney himself said, Cade Klubnik's not a freshman. This isn't new to him. This isn't a guy breaking in a new program, breaking in a new set of wide receivers, breaking in a new offensive coordinator and a new system. This is a guy who has been a starting quarterback for a couple of years now. At what point do we maybe have to go? And again, I know the numbers last year, but again, we had the argument from a texter who texted the show a few days ago and said, Rob, all those numbers are against bad ACC teams. Look at the numbers against the SEC. Well, here they are, 2-5, 3 touchdowns, 8 picks, an average QBR of 49. At which point, and I'm going to say the same thing later about Steve Sarkisian, at which point do we have to say, maybe he's just not as good as we thought he was? And I'm going to ask that question about Steve Sark. I'm going to ask it about Arch Manning. Now, Arch is in year 1. different story. We'll talk more about this because I did have some takes last night that I want your thoughts on. But before we get to hour number 2 in the water cooler cheat sheet, here's your sports flash. Enjoy.
Or don't. It's up to you. Free will. The first NFL game of the year ended with a 24-20 win for the defending Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles. Eagles defensive lineman Jalen Carter was ejected before the first play for spitting on Cowboys quarterback Dak Prescott. Jalen Hurts finished 19-23 for 152 yards, ran for 62 and a pair of touchdowns on the ground. That's pretty good. The NCAA has made a major change to its transfer portal policy, voting yesterday to move to January transfer window and eliminate the spring window for football. The lone transfer window will be a 10-day period that opens January 2nd, one day after the quarterfinals of the college football playoffs. Indiana Fever star Caitlin Clark announced yesterday she would not return from her groin injury this season. Clark has missed all but 13 games this year and has been absent since July 15th. The Fever's season ends next Tuesday with a playoff spot still within reach. We'll be right back. I got to all right, I've got to be honest. I'm gonna blow my nose. So I know that's disgusting, but you know, we all do it. I hope.
It's Friday. I don't care. Tell me what you just, or tell the people what you just told me.
Okay, as a lot of you know, I live in the woods, so I got a text from my daughter saying someone had lost their emu because there's like some emu farms around the area, and I was just curious if an emu pecks or not because they're pretty large birds, and I've been pecked like by parrots and cockatoos and stuff like that, and that hurts. An emu beak, I guess, would be very painful. And then you told me something that was new news to me.
Was it really? I've never told you that
No,
before.
I don't recall ever hear, but I forget a lot of things.
That's also fair. And same. When Rob Brown was a younger and more formidable feller, Rob Brown spent a handful of summers over in Texas working on my uncle's uncle, he's a cousin. We call him uncle. It's weird. Louisiana people are weird. I spent a couple of summers working on my cousin's ostrich farm. I was an ostrich farmer for 2 summers.
There's no way I would forget this. I mean, it's so obscure that you worked on an ostrich farm.
I worked on an ostrich farm for 2 summers. And I can tell you that if you are in the group of people who inaccurately do not believe that birds are dinosaurs, because they are, spend about 10 minutes around ostriches. And you will see Jurassic Park come to life right in front of your faces. Not only do they peck, but they do so with great intensity and vigor. And ostriches, and I have to assume by extension, their dinosaur cousins, emus, are complete and total buttholes. Like, they're the worst. They hate everything. If anything in their field of vision moves, they have one mentality and one mentality alone, and that mentality is murder it. Don't matter. Little ant rolling around the ground, murder. 275,000 pound raging bull gets into the ostrich pen, they're fighting it. It's unbelievable if you make the mistake of getting into an ostrich's territory and doing so without taking the required precautions. They will try to murder you. And oh, by the way, it's not just the peck. An ostrich will kick. They will kick. And an ostrich foot, Zoe, it's about yay big. It's about the size. Like if you put your 2 hands together, it's about that size. Their feet.
Unless you're Kenny Pickett.
And then it's like 7 hands. Their feet are bricks with large velociraptor style. Well, not velociraptor, because velociraptors are only about the size of a chicken, but like Utahraptor, which is actually the model of the Jurassic Park velociraptors that were more Utah raptors. They have those talons on the end. If you get kicked by an ostrich and it catches you on the soft belly, you're bleeped, my guy. And that's what they're trying to do. They want you dead. They want to stand around and do whatever the ostrich version of laugh at your corpse is.
So you're saying I should have been a little weary of a lost emu.
I mean, if an emu strolls onto your property, one of 2 things is happening. Either A, you're getting upgraded car insurance, or B, it's going to try to kill you. Those are the options.
Remember, last year we had some peacocks that had been, I don't know, went through rough times, so couldn't tell it was a peacock. So we've had pigs loose out there before. I've seen foxes and of course the usual possums and things like that. I've never seen an emu up close. I ate emu at Saskatoon.
I'm gonna tell you straight up, and I mean this. You would rather walk out your front door at 3:30 in the morning to find a lone and angry wolf than a lone and angry emu.
Wow.
I give you a shot against the wolf.
Wow.
Seriously, I'm not even joking. No, it's not even a joke. They are predators who lost their ability to eat us, but they still want to murder us. All right. It's a weird thing. Ladies and gentlemen, 7:06 in the morning. There are, believe it or not, sports happening around the sportiverse this morning. Unfortunately for you, even though we had an NFL game last night, even though we have an NFL game tonight, even though we have high school football games tonight, even though we have college football games tomorrow, even though we have finally NFL games coming up this Sunday, you, if you are awake at this point in time, still have to go to work today. That's the bad news. The good news is it's Friday. So like nobody expects anything of you except to be up to date on what is happening in the sports world, and to be up to date on what is happening in the sports world every morning after 7 a.m. Lonzo and I do this.
Are you ready for the playbook of the peculiar, the almanac of the absurd, and the encyclopedia of the extraordinary? Well, you better be, because we're diving headfirst into the 3 top stories that will have your coworkers say,
"What's your name, dude? Buddy? Pal? D?"
Here we go. Welcome.
Yeah, you got to turn it back up. I was so happy with myself because it worked out so well. I forgot I had another thing to do.
We'll get you there.
Yeah.
It's Friday. It's
Yeah,
Friday.
It is.
Got to get down on Friday, man.
Goodbye, everyone.
Got to get down on Friday, both metaphorically and performance-wise. Ladies and gentlemen, the water cooler cheat sheet, the top 3 sports stories you need to know before you get to the office and start killing time until the chefs and the charges get it on tonight in Sao Paulo, Brasilia. When you get to the office, this is what you'll be talking about. Here is item number 1. 24-20, your final score. The reigning, defending, undisputed NFL world champion Philadelphia Eagles get it done at the link over their NFC East rivals, the Dallas Cowboys, last night. It started weird. Before the first snap even happened, we had a little bit of a confrontation between the Eagles defense and the Cowboys offense. Dak Prescott, who elevated himself to Lonzo levels of real life trolling, got into it with Jalen Carter, the defensive lineman for the Philadelphia Eagles. Dak Prescott, after I'm assuming saying that Jalen Carter's mama's fat or something, then spit on the ground in the direction of, for the sake of being fair, in the direction of Jalen Carter, but noticeably not on Jalen Carter. Jalen Carter then spit noticeably on Dak Prescott. And as Dak Prescott is, I assume, not into that and did not give consent, Jalen Carter was ejected from the game before the game even began.
By the way, I watched a video during one of the breaks, and Dak said that he spits a lot during the game. He needed to spit. He didn't want to spit on his lineman, so he spit on the ground. It just happened to be in the direction.
For the record, I don't care if Dak Prescott stared like deeply into Jalen Carter's eyes and said, "This is what I think of you, Hawk Tua."
Why was Jalen Carter over there?
Well, we had a little dust.
Yeah,
up.
but if you notice when the offense happens, there's no other Eagle around. It's just him. So if he goes back with his teammates like he should, the whole incident never happened.
I disagree. Listen, no, I don't think anybody here is going to make the argument that Jalen Carter was in the right, that Jalen Carter did anything right in the situation, because he did noticeably not do that last night. Jalen Carter gets bounced, ended up, I'm not going to say not mattering, because if we're keeping it a buck, Dallas ran the ball pretty well last night. 119 rushing yards, a pair of touchdowns on the ground, both from Javonte Williams. He had 15 carries for 54 yards, 3.6 yards per carry. Miles Sanders, the former Carolina Panther, now a Dallas Cowboys, had 4 carries for 53 yards. In fairness, one of them was a 49-yard breakoff, so the other 3 carries averaged about 3.2 yards per carry. But good night on the ground for him. 49 yards rushing.
I knew that name from somewhere.
Yeah, he used to.
Why do I know?
He was the one.
He was on the team.
He was on the team, and then Chuba took our gerbs. Chuba took his job from him. Miles Sanders, 4 carries, 53 yards. Dallas, 22 totes, a $119, average 5.4 yards per carry, 2 touchdowns on the ground last night. Not a bad night for Dak Prescott. The numbers aren't as good as he played. 21 for 34 through the air, 188 yards, no tutties, no picks. The problem in this game was that Dallas gave themselves every chance to win it CeeDee Lamb had not one, not two, but 3 footballs hit him in the damn hands, and he dropped all of them. I'm not going to say that the reason that Dallas lost was because of the CeeDee Lamb drops. There were some other spots that they could have done things a little bit better. What I am going to say is
you can't gloss
fumble was huge. The fumble in scoring territory was huge. I'm not going to deny. Like I said, it's not the only reason that they lost the game. However, they gave themselves a chance to win the game late, and CeeDee Lamb's drops were the reason that they did not do that. I'm not saying they would have gone the length of the field and scored. I'm saying CeeDee had 3 hit him in the hands. In the hands. One of them was a diving layout catch that, had he caught it, likely would have been in the ESPN top 10 this morning. But it still hit him in the hands, and he still dropped it. He had 2, one running down the middle of the field. Dak dropped it in the bucket, and it just went through his hands. And another one where he was cutting across the middle of the field, and Dak hit him perfectly in stride again. He should have been, Dak Prescott, probably 24 of 32 for about 245 and at least a touchdown. And he was not. So Dak deserved better than the result that he got last night. This is why I've said for a long time, the criticism of the Dallas Cowboys is not about the regular season. They're always a pretty good regular season team. The doubt about the Dallas Cowboys is not about Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott is, I am comfortable saying, a top 7 quarterback in the National Football League. The problem is this team just always farts its way out of existence in the playoffs for no reason. Jalen Hurts, good night, 19 of 23, 152 through the air, sacked 1 time, no touchdowns, no pick, a QBR of 93.7. Pretty good showing. Also had the most rushing yards of anybody on the field last night. 14 totes, 62 yards, 2 rushing touchdowns for Jalen Hurts last night. Actually outrushed Saquon Barkley, 18 carries for 60 yards and 1 rushing touchdown. Look, Dallas did what I think a lot of teams are going to try to do. They are going to say, we are going to remove Saquon Barkley from your game plan. If you are going to beat us, you are going to have to beat us with Jalen Hurts. And last night, the Eagles beat Dallas with Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts was good last night. I have said that it has been an exhausting conversation this offseason. Oh, is Jalen Hurts good, or is he carried by a good team? The answer is probably somewhere in the middle. Like, it's a good team. It's a great offensive line. They held a lot last night. I am going to keep it a buck. I kind of was sympathetic to Dallas fans last night. The Eagles' offensive line holds a lot. The Eagles' offensive line is to holding what the Chiefs' offensive line is to false starts. It's egregious and it's regular. So, I don't know. That being said, Jalen Hurts was still very good last night. The Eagles get us started. We, of course, have the rest of the NFL Week 1 slate. Starts off tonight, Kansas City and L.A. live from Brazil, and a full slate on Sunday, which we'll break down and make our picks coming up later on. But let's get to item number 2. Caitlin Clark shutting it down for the year. The Indiana Fever superstar, the 2024 number 1 overall pick, has been limited to just 13 games this season, dealing with a few different injuries. She was dealing with a quad injury earlier in the year, made a return, suffered a right groin injury on July 15th, and has not been able to make her return since that point. Clark posted on social media yesterday, I had hoped to share a better update, but I will not be returning to play this season. I spent hours in the gym every day with the singular goal of getting back out there. I'm disappointed is not a big enough word to describe how I am feeling. So the Indiana Fever will wrap up their regular season next Tuesday. They are not either in nor eliminated from WNBA playoff yet. Obviously, they have dealt with a string of injuries. Sophia Cunningham is done for the season. Caitlin Clark is now done with the season. So I'm going to say, if you had a preseason ticket on the Indiana Fever behind Caitlin Clark to win the WNBA title, that ticket is officially cooked. But hope she gets right. Hope she gets right, Caitlin Clark. We'll see how that plays out. Let us get to item number 3. I didn't know where to go with this because I do not think that this not necessarily being a heavy NBA market, that this story is really one that y'all care all that much about. But I still do think it is a big story. LA Clipper owner Steve Ballmer denied allegations of salary cap circumvention yesterday. Pablo Torre broke on Wednesday in his podcast that he had receipts that a company that is not run or owned by, but whose chief benefactor is Clippers owner Steve Ballmer, a company called Aspiration, which is was a green banking company, who, by the way, is bankrupt now. Aspiration apparently offered Kawhi Leonard a $28 million endorsement deal that was a no-show job. Since the contract got signed, Kawhi Leonard has not made a singular public appearance. He had not made a singular social media post. He had not made a singular advertisement, et cetera, et cetera. Steve Ballmer yesterday said that he, quote, wants the league to investigate, to take it seriously, end quote, and said that salary cap, quote, salary cap circumvention rules are important to the league, and I'd want the league to investigate. Ballmer said that Aspiration asked him to introduce them to Kawhi Leonard, but Ballmer denied that he had knowledge of the endorsement contract the sides eventually signed, or that he had directed the company to do so. Ballmer said the introduction came in November of 2021, 3 months after the Clippers had agreed to a 4-year, $173 million extension with Kawhi Leonard, who had torn a knee ligament during the team's first Western Conference Finals run earlier that year, leading him to miss the next season. 2 months earlier, in September 2021, the Clips announced a $300 million partnership with Aspiration, which included sponsorship in the team's new arena and on its jersey patch. Ballmer added that Aspiration had wanted the naming rights to the arena and even offered more than into it. But that deal ultimately, for whatever reason, did not go through. Ballmer said, yes, I have had a business relationship with Aspiration. Yes, I introduced them to Kawhi Leonard. No, I did not direct them to give Kawhi that deal. I was not involved with that deal. I did not know what the details of that deal were. The NBA is going to investigate this, and they have already launched their investigation. It's going to be real simple. If they find anything that says Ballmer was behind the deal, involved in the deal, knew about the deal, then I have to imagine the NBA brings the ban hammer down. If they do not bring the ban hammer down, they will tell us that it's because they did not find any evidence that Ballmer was involved. That might be true. It also may be true that this is just something that happens around the NBA, and they got real close to getting busted, and maybe they changed the operating procedure. All right, when we come back, let's take a look at the college football weekend. Let's take a look at the schedule. Let's start making some of our Saturday picks for the weekend. And I asked a question last night on BetMGM. I'm going to ask it for you guys here, and I'm going to ask it specifically of you Clemson fans. Is there a point you give up on Cade Klubnik? Is week one, is it an overreaction to point out the numbers of Cade Klubnik and say maybe he's not that dude? Or do you believe there's a bounce back from Cade Klubnik on the way? That's 2 Will Smith references this week. I got to be better. The Rob Brown Show's on your radio. It's the Fan Upstate.
I'm glad each time you clarify what you're doing, because if
I
not,
shouldn't. I should
it's
just let
just
it
like, what is he doing? Making some sort of weird grunting sound.
This is the bounce back. Have you not seen that video?
No.
Oh.
I kind of want to, because you keep doing
Well, I'm about to send it to you.
Oh, no.
Stay right there, guys. Be right back. I'm going to let Lonzo watch the bounce back video. I was on BetMGM tonight with Ryan Horvat and Bradley Evans last night. Ryan Evans is their celebrity marriage name. Ryan Horvat and Bradley Evans last night. Usually I go one on Tuesday, but Tuesday was the lady friend's birthday. So I asked the boys if I could push it back to tonight, and they said yes. So I was on with the fellas last night. And Ryan Horvat, he's my college football buddy. We were talking college football. And why did I say it like a question? We were talking college football. And Horvey said, I want to ask you. Just because we were just watching that. You're matching the Will Smith games. Yeah. I was on BetMGM. I told you, Will's not well. So I was on the show last night. Ryan said, I wanted to ask you about LSU Clemson, but I think, and this is what he said, I think they'll be fine. I think they'll bounce back. I think Cade's going to be just fine. I think everything's okay. And so then he asked me instead about Arch Manning and Texas. So I said to Horvat, I said, I get it. I get it. And I got questions about Texas too. Like, for instance, why are we still all pretending like Steve Sarkisian is some sort of football genius? Why are we all pretending like you know what Steve Sarkisian's overall career record against AP top 25s is? 7-19.
That's pretty bad.
Yeah. Here, let's take it back. You know what is the record at Texas? Remember, when Sark got to Texas, they were ready to roll immediately. Do you know what Steve Sarkisian's record against AP top 25 is during his tenure at Texas so far? Stab in the dark. Here, I'll even give you a hint. He's played 15 games against AP top 25 teams at Texas. Alonzo, what's his record? Stab in the dark, 15 games. How many has he won?
I'm going to go 2.
He's won 6.
Oh, okay.
He's won 6. I set you up to go dramatically lower.
He went 7 overall, so it's just like, okay, this is...
He's won 6 of those 7 at Texas. He won 1 during his time at USC in Washington. So, my take to Horvey was like, we got to calm down on this Steve Sarkisian is a genius stuff. Like, we have to stop with that. And when I even went out of my way to some degree to defend Arch Manning. I said, look, I know he got some PT last year, but he got starts against low-level teams, and he got spot play in big games, and most of the spot play wasn't really Cade playing quarterback. It was Cade playing Wildcat quarterback, right? So it's his first game as QB1. I'm willing to give him a break. I'm not necessarily willing to give Cade Klubnik the same break that I'm giving Arch Manning because of Dabo Swinney, who we played you the audio yesterday. In fact, you know what? Just because we're having this conversation and we got a minute, let me see if I think I still, I may have deleted it. I think I got rid of it. I'll see if I can find it. But Dabo Swinney said he's not a freshman. This is not his first year. He's not new to this. He needs to be better than that. So here it is. Let me see if I can get this to play for us because I think it's important. Like I said, the discussion about Cade Klubnik was inspired by this from Dabo.
They didn't do anything we didn't expect. They didn't. He created a lot of the pressure because he held the ball. He didn't throw it like the 3rd and 12. 3rd and 12 when he took off scramble. I mean, the read is Tyler Brown. He's the read. It's a 50-yard touchdown if he just throws the ball. But for some reason, he came off and then he started scrambling. So it's a base play. It's not even it's a very simple play. We got another play on the play that he threw to he's got a man side, his own side, and he had the slant for maybe a 50-yard touchdown to Wesco. But he threw it right to Sapp on a double coverage. It's a base play, day one. And, he just didn't read his progression there. I mean, it just eyes on the wrong thing. And again, sometimes you struggle, you don't play, you just do too much. But he had a bad day. I ain't no other way to say it. I mean, like we gotta. If two ain't a dude, we ain't winning. dudes got to be dudes. This is big boy football. So I mean, that's just the way it is. And I can't. I mean, he's not a freshman. He ain't a freshman. He'll respond. But like I said earlier, if our biggest issue coming out of that game is our best player didn't play well, we'll be all right.
Yeah, but that's kind of the problem. Cole Bryson brought up the numbers earlier this week. 2-5 against SEC teams, 3 touchdowns, 8 interceptions against SEC teams. It's not, oh, he had a bad day and that's our biggest problem. It's that he had another bad day against a big-time SEC team that is a playoff caliber team. And before you start going, well, wait a minute, Rob, game 1 against the it's a playoff team. It just seems like his games against playoff teams. And I would even go so far. Like, he had a fine game against SMU last year in the ACC title game. I really liked SMU. Was SMU a national championship contender last year? Absolutely not. Again, liked them, respect them, absolutely thought that Rhett Lashley and the boys deserved a ticket to the playoff last year. But SMU was not a national championship team last year. They were good. They deserved a shot to have the best, 4-game stretch of their season and make a miracle run happen, but it would have been a miracle run. And so I don't really say like, oh, you get a ton of credit for that. So blah, blah, blah. I'm going to ask the same question about Cade. Now, there is some level of defense. The level of defense being Clemson's offensive line got beat. Garrett Riley's play calling is boring and uninspired and lacks ingenuity. Now, I put that, as I've said a few times, I put that on the feet of Dabo Swinney. I take it back to the quote. Well, I'll say paraphrased quote from Dabo when he got there, when he said, we didn't bring Garrett Riley here to run the Garrett Riley offense. We brought him here to run the Clemson offense. All right, well, the Clemson offense ain't working, is it? And yet, you keep going back to the well. But even with all that being the case, there is one thing specifically Dabo Swinney said that I agree with more than anything else. If we're going to win, dudes gotta be dudes. And he was just not a dude on Saturday. So, I will ask you, Clemson fans, I am not asking this to troll you. I am asking you this because Cole Bryson put the number in front of my face. And then I went and I took those numbers because, again, the Rob Brown philosophy on football is what's on tape? What's on tape? I can't really have a take if I don't have tape. What's on tape? And the reality is, against the best teams in college football, Cade Klubnik on tape is not good. Just against the best teams, just not good. And if you're going to lean on the dude's got to be dudes, and he's got to be a dude for us to win, and he has not been a dude. Again, I can blame it on Garrett Riley. I can blame it on Dabo Swinney. To be honest with you, I kind of do. I kind of do blame it on them. But I also know, and if you go back, you'll see that I put this out on my Twitter feed yesterday. I also know on the very first snap of the game against LSU, Clemson's very first snap on offense against LSU, little in route, Cade Klubnik drops back, 5-step drop, 0 pressure. Offensive line is perfect. They pick up a blitz from the outside backer on their right, defense's left. Tackle slides and kicks out, passes off the double team to the guard. Running back slips out the backside for the escape route. Outside wide receiver cuts in underneath the corner, gets his hips turned the wrong way. He is wide open. Cade throws it 2.5 yards behind him. And he's lucky that the DB was a DB. And there's a reason he's a DB, not a receiver, because it hit him in the damn numbers. It should have been after one offensive snap. It should have been 6-0 LSU after one offensive snap. There's no pressure on that. There is only the pressure of it's a big game. It's a big game. You're at the crib. It's a top 10 game. It's a huge game, but it's snap number 1. Like, what's the pressure there? So if that's going to be the response, genuinely Clemson fans, how can you have belief that Cade Klubnik is the guy? Couple of texts that have come in. Dewey text the show said, Cade will bounce back this week simply because Clemson is playing Troy Saturday. Besides that, Cade and Dabo suck. Texter said, doesn't matter if I give up on Cade, he's still going to play. Best thing I can do is hope and wait until postseason to see if he does anything different. I'm not expecting anything different, though. I don't blame Cade. I blame Dabo. And Texter said, we were there, Rob. The quarterback didn't win against SMU. It was the kicker. He needs to get his together. That's from Will. Will, appreciate the text. Keep them coming, ladies and gentlemen. The Rob Brown Show's on your radio. It's the Fan Upstate. Freaking itch on my head, and it won't stop itching.
Maybe you need little Troy up there.
All right, guys, going to hit the restroom. Y'all stay right there. We will be back ever so briefly. Spike texts the show 844-326-3663. Said Cade has to be the dude for Clemson because this team does not have an elite backup quarterback waiting in the wings. Kane left us a message on the on the live stream. Kane said it has to do with development. His coaches have not been developing him. Yeah, I think that's kind of the issue.
I don't know. At the same time, you can only be developed so far. I mean, has he reached his potential talent wise? You can't develop someone past that.
I mean, that's honestly, I think, where I am landing right now is we just may be at a point where we have to acknowledge he's not the guy. Like this might be back-to-back quarterback misses for Dabo Swinney and the Clemson Tiger recruiting staff. It just might be. DJ Uiagalelei and now Cade Klubnik may both just be misses. And I think that's a reality that Clemson fans may have to consider at this point. You may have gotten what you can get out of the guy. Like what he is what he is. I am what I am. I think that's a possible reality here. What I'm not going to disagree with the folks that have pointed out. Hell, I've pointed it out a few times. I think that the offense for Clemson is uninspiring, unimaginative, very predictable, very routine. You know what they're going to do. You know when they're going to do it. And for a very long time, when you had a parade of exceptional quarterbacks coming through, for a very long time, when you had a parade of exceptional wide receivers coming through, running backs coming through, offensive linemen coming through, one of the greatest things, talk to any football coach, one of the greatest things that can happen is you've just got the dudes that you can do whatever you want and it doesn't matter because you're just going to out-athlete the other team. I've told the story 100 times. Middle school, Tom Grant. We lost the game to our rival. My head coach, a gruff old military guy named Tom Grant, walked in the locker room. We were ready to get our behinds chewed out. Tom Grant took off his big old straw hat. He pulled up his those gray athletic shorts that every coach used to wear that had the snap button on the front that were uncomfortably short already. And then he pulled them up to show the locker room his old man thighs. And he said, boys, today you had the biggest problem any football team can have. The other team was just better than you. You did everything right and you still lost because they were just better than you. And in retrospect, as much as I gave him hell, I appreciate Tom Grant. He taught me a valuable lesson that day. I became the next young man in a long list of young men who learned, you can do everything right and to the best of your ability. And the reality is there will always be somebody out there that can do it better than you without even trying. Like it's an unfortunate reality of life. I playing high school basketball was for all 4 years. I was the first guy in the gym. I was the last guy out of it. I was the guy who ran every drill. I was watching in high school VHS tapes of Pistol Pete Maravich to do the drills that Pistol Pete did when he was playing ball. It turns out my talent level for basketball wasn't that high. It didn't matter how much I practiced. I just was not capable of doing enough. And then there was a kid on our team who was an exceptional talent. Didn't practice hard. Didn't come to practice sometimes. Just didn't show up at times. It just kind of walked through the motions. But he was a kick-ass basketball player, and he got to go play D1 at a Power 5 school in a major conference, right? Like, that's just how it works sometimes. So, with that being said, I am starting to get to the point where I am wondering, and I think it is fair to do so, have we just gotten to the roof of what Cade is capable of? Here's the extension of that question. If next week Dabo said to Garrett Riley, we'll say next week. If when you take on Georgia Tech, 2 weeks, Georgia Tech. And again, Tech didn't look as good as I thought they would against Colorado, but they're not a bad football team. If in 2 weeks in Atlanta, you find yourself in a game against the Rec, and Dabo walks over to Garrett Riley and he says, you know what? You call this game. Whatever you want. I'm out of the way. You do whatever. And let's say Garrett Riley immediately becomes the greatest play caller in the history of college football. Does Cade have the talent to take advantage of that? Again, the numbers, because I'm a believer that what's on tape matters more than what I or you or anybody else thinks. What's on tape? What's on tape is in the big games, he fades. In the big games, he's just not there. So, Clemson fans, do you think you're there? Do you think you're there? Texas says, Rob, listen to Cade's post-game press conference the other day. He is reading his own headlines. He thinks he's that good. I think that's the problem. End quote. There may be some element of that going on. And again, much like with Arch Manning, I'm not going to fault Cade for that. When we talked about this a lot. When DJ Uiagalelei was getting recruited, there was the video where he and his dad were on an airplane with Dabo. And they were flying over on their way into Clemson. They flew over Death Valley. And Dabo says on tape to DJ Uiagalelei, see that? That's where you're going to throw all those touchdowns. That is part of the unfortunate reality of recruiting, is that you got two ways to do it. You can be honest with a kid and go, look, we don't know what you're going to be. Here's what I can do. I can promise you we're going to bust our ass to develop you into the best player we can develop you into being. I can promise you that we are going to give you every opportunity to earn playing time. Or you can tell a kid, you're next. You're the next whoever. You're the next great Clemson quarterback. You're the next great South Carolina defensive back. You're the next great whatever. And have that kid believe you when he steps on campus. Problem is, if you do that and that kid believes you, and then he takes that to heart, he could end up in that spot. And I will tell you that. And I haven't said this before because I frankly wasn't interested in doing so. But I've interviewed Cade at 2 ACC Media Days now, last year and this year. And I can tell you that, and I don't fault him for it. I understand. It's a dog and pony show. Cade Klubnik was probably interviewed by 90 people that day, and I'm just one of the many jackasses with a microphone that he got to talk to. But I will tell you, in the interviews that I have done with him, he's disconnected. He's not interested. He doesn't, I'm not saying he doesn't want to do it, but that's the vibe I get. And maybe, and there are other factors at play. We are not the flagship station in this market for that university. And respectfully, we are treated that way. And I get it. I'm not mad at him for it. Of course, if you have a flagship station that carries all your stuff, yeah, they get the royal treatment. And we'll give those other guys the table scraps. I'm not mad at Clemson for it. I would do the same thing. Those guys carry everything for them. Yes, I'm going to give them everything they want. And if we have time, we'll hook you guys up. If we have time, I'm fine with that. I'm just trying to be real with you here. But in the 2 times that I have sat down with Cade Klubnik to do an interview at ACC Media Days last year and this year, and in the couple of times that I have seen him up close and personal, post-game press conferences, et cetera, do these things, he's very disconnected, right? He doesn't want to do it. And I'm not saying that is necessarily a bad thing. I think there's a lot of football players who could give a damn less about talking to the media. I'm not upset about it. I get it. But at the same time, sometimes your attitude is what your attitude is. And I do wonder if that has an impact. If for 3 years running, being told you're the greatest thing on this campus since sliced bread with the crust on it, then, if he's taking that to heart, he's taking it to heart. I don't know what to tell you. All I know is the record against SEC teams and the record against national championship caliber teams, not playoff teams, not one and done first round exit playoff teams, natty teams, is bad. There's no way around that. It's just bad. And I think there is some level of blame to be placed at the feet of Dabo Swinney. I think there is some level of blame to be placed at the feet of people in jobs like mine who came into this year guaranteeing a Heisman year for him. And I'll acknowledge I bought into the hype a little bit because I went, a lot of tape last year where he looked like that dude. A lot of tape last year where he looked like he was really good. A lot of tape last year where he looked like a Heisman caliber player. But it's also fair to point out he didn't against Georgia. He didn't against South Carolina. He didn't against, I wouldn't even say he did against SMU. I think it was okay. And he certainly didn't in the playoff game that got you bounced against Texas. Like, it's not, the tape's not there to support all that. So I am genuinely wondering, have we just seen the best out of Cade Klubnik, who is a fine, good college quarterback, but he's not a Heisman guy. He cannot carry your team by himself. I'm wondering if that's where we are. Texter said, Rob, good Friday morning. I hate ... loathe screenplays. But even Clemson's old offense, which I hated, looked better than what Riley is running right now. Cade is bumping his ceiling, but Riley's play calling is suspect to this point. That's from Spartanburg Jay. And again, Jay, I don't know that we can know the answer to the question that I'm about to ask you right before we go to break, but is the play calling suspect because it is just what Dabo wants Clemson's offense to be? Is the play calling suspect because Garrett Riley's not a good play caller? Which, do you think that he was on the market for like every major university to hire him? Or do you think there's something else? Or is his play calling suspect because he understands Cade maybe doesn't have all that in him against great defenses, so he's got to limit the playbook? I think that's a fair question. Texter said, to all the Klubnik, Riley, and Dabo bashers, just be patient. All will be well, and they'll be back in the national title hunt Monday after thrashing Troy. I don't think Troy's going to get you a bunch of love with the enhanced metrics, Texter. If you finish 10-2 and your losses are to South Carolina and to LSU, it looks like your only quality win might be Florida State. And if you're, again,
not a gimme, by the way.
Not a gimme. And by the way, Louisville right now doesn't feel like a gimme. Miller Moss can throw the ball. Georgia Tech doesn't feel like a gimme right now. I'm picking Clemson, but that doesn't feel like a gimme. Like, I don't know. I can't say I agree with that entirely. All right, here's what I can agree. Lonzo does good sports flashes.
I don't know if I believe you or not when you said that. The first NFL game of the year ended with a 24-20 win for the defending Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles. Eagles defensive lineman Jalen Carter was ejected before the first play for spitting on Cowboys quarterback Dak Prescott. Good look for the league there. Jalen Hurts finished 19-23 for 152 yards, ran for 62, and a pair of touchdowns on the ground. The NCAA has made a major change to its transfer portal policy, voting yesterday to move to a January transfer window and eliminate the spring window for football. The lone transfer portal window will be a 10-day period that opens January 2nd, one day after the quarterfinals of the college football playoffs. 49ers running back Christian McCaffrey was a late addition to the team's injury report, being labeled as questionable with that calf injury that limited him in practice yesterday. McCaffrey set out most of training camp last year with a calf injury that turned out to be tendonitis of the Achilles. Also not good.
The Rob Brown Show rolls on. It's the Fan Upstate. I am Rob Brown, the great one Lonzo on the ones and twos this morning. Spectacular to spend 4 hours with you every single weekday. We are talking, well, we have been talking, we're talking football. We've talked a lot of college football in the last hour of the show. The conversation about Clemson, about Cade Klubnik, about Dabo Swinney, about Garrett Riley. And I do want to clear something up because I got a message during the break that I'm not going to read it, but I will react to it and kind of tell you the gist of it was, am I not worried that I'm being a little over disparaging towards Clemson? I'm not. I'm in fact quite the opposite.
What? Like there's going to be repercussions? Is that what they've?
I'm not. Again, I
like what? What kind of repercussion?
I'm not worried about it. All right. I'm not worried about it. I'm not worried about it. And I don't even want to make this like a petty squabble thing, because I swear to you, it is not. I don't do anything in this chair but try to be honest.
As someone who's been called downstairs early on in his career because I said something disparaging about Clemson, I'm offended when people say that sort of thing. It's our job to talk about this stuff. And you can't just kind of tiptoe around things. Obviously, there's a problem.
So I think the thought was less about the criticism of Cade Dabo, Garrett Riley for what happens on the field, and more about the disconnectedness of Cade Klubnik doing interviews, and the fact that when we do events, ordinarily we're kind of an afterthought for them because they go straight to the flagship that broadcasts in the market. I don't have a problem with that. I need you to know, and I say this and I mean it, I don't take it personally at all. I would do the same thing if I was them. If I have a station in town that covers my stuff, that carries all my events, and that does nothing but give positive, glowing reviews about me all the time, I'd pimp them too, right? If I go out to a bar and table over here, table A, is like, I listen to Rob Brown every morning, and man, that guy sucks at his job. He's got bad takes. He's annoying. He's too loud. And table B is like, I listen to Rob Brown every day. His show's awesome. He's spectacular, and he deserves $1 million a year. Which of those two tables do you think I'm going to sit down and have a beer at, man? Which of those two tables do you think? The honest answer is table A, because I'm going to try to win them over, because that's just my personality.
Come on.
I'm going to table A to be like, hey, guys.
See, I thought what you would say is you would try to bring table A and B together.
Oh, I sure would. I'd try to win the people over. But I'm also not a major D1 industry organization, outlet, whatever. The point is, no, I don't say any of what I'm saying to be disparaging or anything. It just is what it is. And I have an immense respect for what they do at that university. I have an immense respect for the things that Dabo Swinney has accomplished during his time at the head coach. I have an immense respect for Justin Ross, who runs all of their PR. That's our go-to guy as far as getting, our interviews lined up and all that. I'm simply pointing out that we are, to some degree, not even on the outs, because that's got a negative connotation to it. We're second priority, and I understand why. If I was him, I'd do the same thing. So, but along with that comes a reality, and that reality is this: I also have no obligation to kiss butts. And for the record, even if we were, I think I have been, as I was during the Matt Rule era, as I have been during the Frank Reich era, I have been willing to curb stomp the Carolina Panthers when that organization has been. I have gone after the owner of that team when he deserved it. And guess what we are?
It's not the same, though.
Well, it's the best comparison I have.
I know. I know.
The point that I'm making is I will go, even if we are, until I am told not to, which has not happened to me personally. If we're talking football, we're talking football. And while most of what we talk about when we're talking about football is stuff that happens on the football field, to say that I haven't picked up on things or noticed things off of the field that I think have a direct impact on what happens on the field, I wouldn't be doing my job. And so, yes, I am going to bring it up that if I am at a media day, which is an event that is exclusively designed for your coaches and quarterbacks and whatever to go out there, to put on a smiling face and to talk great about their program. If I show up and your head coach or quarterback or wide receiver or running back or offensive lineman seem disconnected and like they can't be bothered to do this thing that is very important for the school, the team, the conference.
Haven't people basically said the same thing about Jalen Hurts, though?
Yes, they have.
And he just won the Super Bowl.
Yes. I'm not, for the record, everybody's different. If Jalen Hurts last year was 6-11, then that conversation probably comes into play. It's like I said about Nick Saban not terribly long ago. I worked around Nick Saban very closely when I was broadcasting in the Florida Panhandle, because the Florida Panhandle, or as we affectionately refer to it as Lower Alabama, it's Alabama country down there. There are as many Bama fans in the Florida Panhandle as there are in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, y'all. So Saban regularly came through Pensacola, Florida on recruiting trips, came through to give keynote addresses at booster dinners or whatever that I would go cover. And I am going to tell you, while I absolutely adore College Game Day Nick Saban, the head coach at the University of Alabama, was a butthole to everybody. And I don't think he pushed back on that. He was a butthole to everybody, with one exception. The minute he found out that you could do something for him, the minute he found out that you could help his football team, that you could help him, then he all of a sudden had all the time in the world for you. I've told this story a couple of times. I was at the University of West Florida one year. Was covering an event there. Nick Saban rolled up, and I ended up in a spot where I was going up to say hello to someone that I knew who was involved in a conversation that Nick Saban was involved in. It wasn't a one-on-one. There was a few people standing around, but Nick was there, and Nick was just super standoffish. And I walked up and I said hello to the guy I was there to talk to. And then I introduced myself. It was not the first time I had met Nick Saban, but Nick Saban's met a gazillion people. So like I reintroduced myself to big names, right? So I said, Rob Brown, the Ticket Sports Network was the name of the outfit I was with at the time. And he said, hello. And that was it. No, like didn't reach out to shake my hand or anything. It was very awkward. And then about 3 or 4 minutes later in this conversation, the guy who was running the event, who invited me out to cover it, says to Nick Saban, hey, coach, this is Rob Brown. He hosts the Rob Brown Show. They are syndicated from Mobile, Alabama, all the way over to Tallahassee. He is the biggest sports talk show in the Florida Panhandle, and his station is the high school football station in the area, because we did a 1,000 hours of high school football a week. I hated it, but we did. And as soon as Saban heard that I had massive inroads with all the high school coaches around the Florida Panhandle, boy, howdy, could he not have shaken my hand and looked me in the eyes and been more kind and gracious, because now I had something to offer him. Now I gave him another en route to the high school football teams in the area. And I want to be clear. It didn't offend or bother or upset me in the least. I understood it. Nick Saban could get away with being a jerk because he was winning. If you are winning, you can be disconnected. If you are winning, you can call whatever plays you want. If you are winning, you can run whatever offense you want, whatever defense you want. If you are winning, you can look your fans in the face and go, you all suck. See you Saturday. And they'll show up. Because that is the thing that we care about. It just is. But if you are not winning, then all those little things, they all come into play. Because we, out here in the Armada Detective Agency, we're going to try to figure out what the hell is keeping you from winning. And if I look at a guy who has an opportunity to be the face of the program at an event that is designed to allow him to be the face of the program, if I have a guy who has an opportunity to do some positive for the team, for the school, for the conference, And that guy looks like he could not give a gosh darn less. Look, if he was going out there and winning natties, you know what I would say? I would take the same dude acting the same way. And what would I say about him? He is so dialed in on winning, right? That's how we treat it. This guy is so dialed in on winning. Nothing else matters to him. He doesn't care about doing media. He doesn't care about interviews. He doesn't care about media day. He doesn't care about doesn't care about this, that, or the other X, Y, or Z. He only cares about winning, and it shows up on scoreboards. But if you act that way and you're not winning, now it is fair, as that texter did earlier, to say, maybe there's an attitude problem here. Like that's part. Now, I do think that is part of it, but I am starting to kind of walk ourselves away from that conversation to some degree. I am starting to get to the point where I think he just may not have the talent roof that you guys were sold that he does. And when you take that, I do have to ask this question as a follow-up. And I asked this of Spartanburg J on the text line when he sent a text that kind of inspired this a minute ago. When he was talking about the play calling. Yes, I was sitting on Saturday with a Clemson fan watching LSU Clemson. And at one point, about midway through the third quarter, when it was very clear LSU's winning this game, he looked me dead in the face and he said, and I quote, "Same Clemson Tigers." Like that's where you're at now. So I did not ask this at the time because I didn't want that guy to hit me over the head with a beer stein. But I've asked it now and I'll ask it again here. Is it a possibility that it's the same old Clemson Tigers this year? Because much like when DJ Uiagalelei was the quarterback, and you are all able to see the shortcomings of DJ Uiagalelei as a quarterback, is it possible that it is the same old Clemson Tiger offense? Because that's all they trust the quarterback to be able to do. Now, you heard the press conference where Dabo Swinney racked Cade Klubnik and said he had a bad day. He was missing reads. He said at one point, that's day one stuff. That's base plays. That stuff, that's a read and a throw you've got to be able to make when you get off the bus your freshman year to go to practice number one. Like, you've got to be ready to make that throw. Is it possible that the play calling is boring, predictable, uninspiring, because it's all they think he's capable of doing at this point? Because I'll tell you, again, I know I'm hammering on just one play, and one play does not a football game make. But on the opening play of that game against LSU on Saturday, an opportunity to set the tone. Cade had a dude wide open on the right-hand side. Cornerback got his hip flipped to the sideline. Safety had dropped off to cover an inside route. Outside linebacker blitzed, got picked up perfectly by the defensive tackle. Everybody else was blocked. The pocket was perfectly clean. Cade had a dude with a safety rolling back and a corner whose hips were flipped to the sideline, ran an in route, was right in the two of them, and Cade hit the cornerback in the number. Bad throws happen. Bad throws happen. Bad throws are going to happen. Every quarterback. Patrick Mahomes is going to throw a bad throw on Sunday. Or, sorry, tonight. Disrespect. I know. Sorry, my bad. Patrick Mahomes will have a bad throw tonight. And so will Justin Herbert. And so will Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson on Sunday. Bad throws are going to happen. But I got to think there's a difference between a bad throw because you're playing against NFL defenses and you're getting weird looks and you're under pressure versus play number one of one of the most important games of your career with zero pressure, a wide open wide receiver, not covered at all, and you miss by 2.5 yards behind him, like I don't think it's unfair. And I really am not trying to be rude, mean, disrespectful, whatever some of you are calling me right now. I'm not. But I think there comes a point where you just have to look and go, is this potentially just a reality where we have hit a talent ceiling? And look, maybe this makes it to be bulletin board material. I don't know. But I don't think it's an unfair question to ask. I really don't. Jacob said this is the third season we've had some kind of conversation about what if Dabo steps out of the way. And so far, it's not happened. And there's no reason to think that it will happen now. Again, I said this last night to Ryan Horvath, and I've said it on this show a few times. I understand that the stubbornness and the commitment to the Clemson way has been endearing for you Clemson fans for Dabo Swinney. I get it. I understand it. Bobby Bowden was the same way for Florida State fans when the game was very clearly passing him by. But the reality is stubbornness and unwillingness to change. I got bad news for you. Everything in the world is changing, and it does all the time. Nothing stays the same. And if you're unable to or unwilling to change with it, you will get left behind. The march of progress waits for no man. And if you go, no, I'm doing it this way, guess what, buddy? The bus is moving. And if you don't stay with it, you will get left behind. The Welcome Home Pod checks in. Clemson not having a true running back will be a factor this season, too. That wide receiver to running back scenario rarely works. Shane Beamer found that out the hard way. Yeah, that was my one big question of our three big questions. Can you run the ball? Because here's the other part that they don't want to talk about. If you can't run the ball, Harold Perkins is going to live inside of Cade Klubnik's jersey all night. And then it won't matter how good or bad he is. And that's what happened. Back after this on the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate.
Mad world.
All right, guys, quick live coming right back. Stay right there for me, please, and thank you. let's flip it over. We'll talk a little NFL here on the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate. No Rashad Beard in the next segment. He is out on his final vacation today. He will be back with us next Thursday, and then all the way through the remainder of the NFL season. So we will keep it here for one more segment, but I do want to get to some NFL talk for just a minute. We open it up tonight with the Chiefs and the Chargers live from Sao Paulo, Brasilia. This game, interesting to me because I think that, as we have talked about many times, we've had these off-season conversations that are just hit on and hit on and hit on and hit on and hit on again and again and again and again and again, over and over. And obviously one of them impacts the great ones, Kansas City Chiefs. That conversation being, are we at the end of the dynasty? Did the Super Bowl loss to Philadelphia last year, did that end the dynasty, or are the Chiefs going to be back in the picture next year? Now, we picked our divisional winners yesterday, and I, along with Lonzo, selected the Kansas City Chiefs to win the AFC West. But I also, because I was curious last night, went and looked at the percentage of bets and money coming in on not Kansas City to win that division. And it's a pretty significant number. The book I looked at last night said, great one, that about 40% of the overall bets, now this is not the money that is coming in, but about 40% of the number of bets placed. And I will say, looking at money versus looking at number of bets tells a story. Number of bets regularly tells you what the everyday common average bettor is doing, right? Like the guys that don't do this for a living. Money usually tells you what the sharps are betting, what the guys who live in Vegas and gambling on sports is how they make a living are doing with their money. If there is a lot of money, like if 70% of the number of bets are on one side, but 70% of the money is on the other side, usually that means that the Vegas insiders, the sharps, if you will, usually it means that they think that there is something that Joe Blow out here in everyday America does not see, does not have, does not know, does not have a read on, whatever. The money, overall money, is still in on the Chiefs, but the number of bets has dropped from the last couple of years where Kansas City was entering the year with like 65+% of the total number of bets to win the division. This year, it's down closer to 40. The other 60% is largely Denver with a smattering of Chargers votes in there as well. This is going to be one of those games, great one, that I think is going to be a prominent feature on, well, actually, Monday. Because whether the Chiefs blow out the Chargers slip by the Chiefs, or the Chiefs win a tight one with LA, I would also point out, I don't think you're going to see either one of these teams in midseason form out of the gate. And I think both of these teams, with the two quarterbacks they have, are likely teams that may take a game or two to really get into midseason form. I think it'll be a hell of an entertaining game. It's obviously a very important game, especially if the Chargers are able to hang around with the Chiefs until the midway part of the season when they line it up again. But give me a Chiefs win. I'm not going to touch the number. It is Kansas City -3.5 because I do think it could be a field goal win. Over under 46.5. That is actually surprisingly it's a middle of the road number for this weekend's NFL games. We got a couple of games expected to go up over 50. Very few, actually, I think only one expected to go below 40 points. That's Pittsburgh and the Jets. I like the Chiefs to win tonight, but I'm not going to touch the cover because I do think it could be a field goal game. I am going to say, I think on Monday, Monday, this is going to be one that regardless of how it comes out, we're going to go, let's not push the judgment button yet.
I wonder, a lot of things may factor into the betting world. One is maybe Chiefs fatigue getting in the way. The other is, from what I've saw, that Harbaugh is like 5-0 in first games or something like that. So there are a lot of things that factor into this. Also, I think I heard it on the Kelsey podcast that it's a 12-hour flight there and there's no time difference. So there's no place for them to catch up as far as sleep and stuff. So I think both teams are going to be a little bit tired. And I don't know about your feed, but my feed is constantly showing Patrick Mahomes and Kelsey doing different interviews. So I think they're being sought after. I don't know if that's happening on the Chargers side. So, and I don't know if that takes away from any practice time or anything like that. I think it's going to be a good game because it's always a good game. And if the Chiefs win by 2 or they win by 35, they still win.
Yeah, I mean, look,
because I'm not a bettor and I'm not putting money down, I think margin of victory doesn't matter as much to me, especially going through the last couple seasons where the Chiefs barely win, and a lot of times it takes the fourth quarter, and in some people's opinions, the referees, in order for them to win.
The good thing is with the NFL, and this is one of the reasons that some people make the argument that it is a better system.
And why don't they say that about Philadelphia? Of course, you couldn't last night. Man, they got flagged a bunch. Why is there not Eagles fatigue?
Well, first off, I'm going to say when it comes to betting, I'm sure it does have some level of influence for the out here on the streets bettors. Much like I have said with the Vegas lines makers, the guys who live out there and they do this for a living, they don't give a damn about fatigue or fandom or any of that. There's money on the line. That's all they care about. The fatigue narrative, with the exception of some gamblers who I would advise to stop gambling, Chiefs fatigue is not going to factor into anybody who does this seriously's decision making. I want to see them lose, so I'm going to throw $100 at a bet I don't think is going to hit because that's what I want to have. I have never once bet on what I want to happen versus what I think is going to happen. Hell, what I think is going to happen is with great regularity and direct opposition to what I want to happen. But I do think that obviously there are a lot of variables. I think if this was in Kansas City, this is probably a 6.5 point line. Hell, I think if it was in LA, even with a home field advantage, I think it's probably a 4.5 point line. It being 3.5 may very well have to do with the fact that it is a long flight down. Everybody is in unfamiliar. So there's no way a Chiefs-Chargers game should have a point line, a total of whatever, 46.5. Like that number should be 48.5. That number should be 49.5. I'm sure there's a lot of that plays into it. I also think that there is some level of what is this Chiefs offense going to look like this year, right? And it's a fair question because it's not just, I think, the Super Bowl from last year. It's that just compared to previous Super Bowl years, year to year, the numbers were down for the Chiefs offense.
They got everybody back on offense. Remember, there were a lot of injuries last year, and they got everybody back so much so that they had excess and had to send some people away.
Sure. But again, there were, at the beginning part of that year last year, those guys were all there, and those numbers were still down on a week-to-week relative to the previous year's year. So I think it's fair to say, look, it's still a very good team, but it is a team that is a year older. It is a team that is coming off of a Super Bowl L. I don't know. I'm taking the Chiefs. I just don't like the 3.5 number. That's all. All right, we'll take a look at the rest of the NFL schedule, including the games in the NFC South and some of the highlight games from NFL Sunday week numero uno when we come back on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate. I'm glad you made that reference, James, because I made that reference back in the first hour of the show. Han shot first, Dak spit first. But the difference is Han didn't miss.
Yeah, Han killed, was it Greedo? Yeah. He killed him. So, I mean, there was that.
If Han shot first, he didn't miss.
What do you mean if? He absolutely shot first. And he's a scoundrel. Why is that? That always bought. So what? I mean, he's a scoundrel. He's supposed to do that.
Well, I'm going to read it because I'm going to talk about it. North Carolina and first-year head coach Bill Belichick have banned the Patriots staff from accessing the Tar Heels program. Why were they allowed to in the first place? You don't work there anymore. Because they want to be the 33rd franchise. BRB, dudes. Taking a look at this weekend's NFL Sunday slate as we get week number 1 underway on Sunday. Kickoff tonight between the Chargers and the Chiefs at 8 p.m. from Sao Paulo, Brazil. Then we just got to hang out through a pretty, I don't want to say bad college football Saturday, but it's just not sexy in terms of big time matchups outside of outside of Oklahoma and Michigan. There are, like I've mentioned, a lot of interesting games between teams that are dynamic. But this weekend, very clearly to be dominated by the National Football League. Let's take a look at some of the games. Tampa Bay favored by 1.5 on the road at the Atlanta Falcons. I will not do a lot of week 1 wagering on the NFL unless there's just a line that jumps off the page at me, which as of right now, there are not a lot of them. But this one is, I think, very interesting because while we have seen Michael Penix Jr. starting for the Atlanta Falcons, as we did in a chunk of the back half of last year, they've made some changes. They've stocked up a little bit. I've already gone on the record and said, I do think that the Atlanta Falcons on paper, have the talent to be able to win this division this year on paper. But I've also gone on the record and said, I will bet the Atlanta Falcons to win the division once they win the division. Atlanta's Kyle Pitts. Every year promise, every year potential, every year hype, every year disappointment. I'm just not there yet. We'll see where that plays up. Cincinnati at Cleveland. Cincinnati favored by 5.5. This is going to be one of the few games I am going to bet. I'm going to take Cincinnati to cover. And I think there is 2 things at play. Number 1, there's the narrative about Cincinnati in week number 1. We all remember their loss to the Patriots last year that started off their campaign. And there was quite a bit of discussion about, is this the indicator that the Bengals are officially cooked? No, the indicator is that their defense is going to be tragic this year. Although I'm glad they got Trey Hendrickson back in the fold for Cleveland fans. It's still, or for Cincinnati fans, pardon me, it's still not a good team. The good news is they're playing the Browns. I need a win by a touchdown over the Browns with a fully healthy Joey Burrow, who, by the way, 2 days ago said that, and again, anybody with a mic 2 days before opening day is obviously going to be absolutely hyped out, but said 2 days ago, my body feels and is capable of doing things that it's never done before. I'm in. Give me the Bengals to cover up the 5.5 over Cleveland.
He should have bought the Batmobile then.
He wanted to, but then his house got robbed.
I get it.
And I'm sure that Joey B is probably strapped for cash right now.
So will Cincinnati's defense, as bad as it is, make Cleveland's offense look good? I think that's a question. I think it is a possibility. Can Joe Flacco win? Does Joe Flacco make it through the entire game? I don't know. I think it's going to be closer than what you think. I do think Cincinnati wins, but I think it's going to be closer.
I like Jerry Jeudy a lot for the Browns. Name me another skill position player in Cleveland. Just give me a guy. And I'm putting Zoe on the spot, but we're playing an edition of the Rob Brown Show Home Edition. Name me another Cleveland player.
You're putting me more on the spot because I can't remember names anymore. So
right.
Even if I did know, there's that one guy who played for that one team and he was really good last year, and now he's there in Cleveland and he's a running back.
Mm-hmm. That one guy. Jerome Ford will get the start. They got Jerry Jeudy, and hell, their best weapon might be David Njoku, the tight end. No, I don't think even against that defense, I just don't think Cleveland is going to do a lot this year. Miami is in Indianapolis.
If Shedeur was playing, that would be a totally different story.
Yes, obviously. Miami at Indianapolis. This one is interesting because it is a pair of teams that Lonzo and I have very different expectations for both of these teams. I think it is a bounce back year for I'm going to do that every time. The Miami Dolphins this year I think Miami is actually going to be a very interesting team. I am betting their over win total. I think it is set too low. And on top of that, I think Mike McDaniels. Have you seen Mike the last couple of weeks? I think Mike McDaniels is entering his evil scientist era. I think Mike McDaniels is going to be in the lab.
He's been one step away from that for a while.
No, he's always been like on the verge of letting the inner nerd win. No. I think Mike McDaniels is going to turn evil this year. I think he's like a competent Dr. Doofenshmirtz. That's the first time I've referenced Dr. Doofenshmirtz on the show. It's a good reference.
It is a good reference for sure. Now I can't get that visual out of my head.
It's my touchdownator.
I just think he goes from being nerd to snark. He's already doing the snark, but I think it goes that edgy snark where it makes people feel uncomfortable.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. I also am very proud of me that I have the dude that can open the show talking about spitting on people and then close it with a Phineas and Ferb reference.
Well,
I'm well rounded.
The show ain't closing yet. We got another hour.
Oh, that's true. It's only
in order for me to be correct in my prediction for that particular division, I got to go with Indianapolis here.
Yeah, and I'm going with Miami on this one. I think they cover up the 1.5. In fact, I think a money line outright win for the Dolphins. Vegas at the Patriots in Gillette Stadium in Foxborough. That one's a 2.5 point New England. Give me the Raiders, man. Listen, I like the Patriots. I also think they're going to open up the playbook for Drake May this year a lot more than it was last year. I think it may take him a game or two. I'm in on Drake May, just so we're clear. This is not me being out on Drake May. I'm in on Drake May. I just think this offense may take a game or two to get up to speed with the additions this year. The Raiders are going to run it 96 times in this game.
Give me the Patriots. I mean, Pete Carroll's a great story, I suppose, because he's old and he's upright. I mean, I don't know, he's energetic for his age, all that kind of stuff. And he brought Geno in. And Geno's serviceable, but I'm going to go with Patriots. I'm going to go with it's going to be close, but the edge goes to Vrabel.
You know why they brought Geno in? Because they're going to run it 96 times a game.
You think so?
Yeah. Yeah, I do. Arizona at New Orleans. Who cares? Pittsburgh.
No. Let's not gloss over that. So you're saying there's no chance that Spencer Rattler can come out there and beat that quarterback who might be taller than him.
And beat that quarterback who might
be
taller.
I'm never going to pass over a chance to talk about the over 6 foot tall Kyler Murray.
I mean, I get that. Listen,
I don't care if anyone else gets it, but you.
If the New Orleans Saints win a game that they are 6.5 point dogs to, I've already told you a million times.
That's a touchdown, right?
Your boy is very much in on Spencer Rattler still being the surprise of the draft. If we win this game, I will be in here on Monday hyping the Rat Daddy to the moon, boys. But I don't think it's going to happen.
Wow, I was not expecting that. I was like, oh, no. He forgot to turn his phone off again. And then, well done. You know what? I just don't believe in Arizona. I don't.
I don't really either. I just also don't believe in my own team.
So if I don't believe in either team, I'm going to go with the thing that makes Rob happy.
Rat Daddy!
There we go.
Pittsburgh at New York. Obviously, this one, the return of Aaron Rodgers to the Big Apple alongside a visiting team as he takes over Mike Tomlin's Pittsburgh Steelers. I've already said it, and I've said it, and I've said it again. I am in on Justin Fields and the New York Jets. Steelers are better. Give me the 2.5 point cover.
Yeah, I got to go with Steelers and keep talking about the return of Aaron Rodgers, but those quarterbacks are switched.
That's
so
true.
This is Justin Fields having a chance to get revenge on the team that started someone else ahead of him after he went 4-2 or whatever it was at the beginning of the season.
That's also fair. Let's keep going with our 1 o'clock games as we work towards the end of this. We will do our afternoon and night games coming up in the next hour of the show. The New York Football Giants on the road at the Washington Commanders. The Commanders 5.5 point favorites at the crib. I may not bet against Washington this year. They're not going undefeated or anything, but I may not bet against them. I like New York. I've already said I think both New York teams are going to be pleasant surprises to the residents of the Big Apple this year. That being said, Jaden Daniels is that dog, and Scary Terry got his money. Give me the Commanders.
Absolutely. You can't bet against an Ohio State receiver. Got to go with Washington.
And to wrap up our 1 o'clock games, the Carolina Panthers on the road at the Butthole of America Jaguars down in Jacksonville at Everbank Stadium. Jacksonville favored by 3 and the hook at the crib, Lonzo.
Yeah, I'm going Panthers. And it's a lot of it has to do with, again, my favorite NFC team, and I don't believe in Jacksonville. I think Panthers come out and surprise Jacksonville. Will it really be that much of a surprise if the Panthers won? Because a lot of people are picking them to win the division. Right?
I don't know if it's a lot of people. I got beat up on social media yesterday.
I've heard several national people high on the Carolina Panthers.
For sure.
So.
For sure. I'm not saying nobody is. I'm one of them. I'm not national. But
you absolutely are national because you're on national shows all the time. So, I mean, that's the definition of national.
I will take it.
Maybe not consistently.
Give me the Cats on the road. I don't know. I mean, I think I might just pick a money line win in this. Like Carolina plus 5.5 feels real good, but I might, or excuse me, plus 3.5 feels real good. I wouldn't.
Show some love for your baby boy.
I would not be shocked if that line dips down to Carolina plus 2.5 and takes the field goal hook off there. But grab it now if you want it. I'll take Carolina plus 3.5. I'll actually take them on the money line outright. When we come back, we're going to be joined by the fellas from the Moving the Chains podcast because we've got high school football across the upstate tonight. We'll check in on some of the big games and matchups, and then we'll run through the rest of the NFL schedule, set you up for the weekend in the final hour of the Rob Brown Show. This, ladies and gentlemen, is your last sports flash of the week. Enjoy.
Better savor it. The first NFL game of the year ended with a 24-20 win for the defending Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles. Eagles defensive lineman Jalen Carter was ejected before the first play for spitting on Cowboys quarterback Dak Prescott. Jalen Hurts finished 19-23 for 152 yards, ran for 62 and a pair of touchdowns on the ground, which is really, really good. The NCAA has made a major change to its transfer portal policy, voting yesterday to move to a January transfer window and eliminate the spring window for football. The lone transfer portal window will be a 10-day period that opens January 2nd, one day after the quarterfinals of the college football playoffs. And Indiana Fever star Caitlin Clark announced yesterday she would not return from her groin injury this season. Clark has missed all but 13 games this year and has been absent since July 15th. The Fever's season ends next Tuesday with a playoff spot still within reach. Good catch, James. They are both cats. But in the wild, wouldn't you think that a Panther could beat a Jaguar? I mean, Jaguar are going to be faster, but the Panther would be up in a tree and maybe catch that Jaguar off guard. I don't know. Now I'm going to have to look it up and see if, because I don't know. Congratulations, Stephen. I don't know, since they're not popping up on StreamYard, possibly they're live in studio. Wasn't told, but that's not unusual.
Call Wesley now for your free timeshare exit kit. 800-949-1441. That's 800-949-1441. 800-949-1441. Texting privacy policy and terms and conditions posted at textingterms.us. Texting enrolls you.
I did not, Zach. Now I'm going to have to look it up because I'm sure it's comedy.
There's a lot on the line in divorce. This is Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell, the largest family law firm in the country. When you find yourself facing divorce, you need a partner you can count on. Connect with a local divorce attorney today. Text OFFICE to 32, 32, 32. Office to 32, 32, 32. 55 feet of Greenville. Welcome to the Ingalls Table, a delicious destination with recipes galore. Need to whip up a dessert, entree, side dish? No problem. The experts from the Ingalls Table take you through it step by step with expert tips and advice along the way. Find the Ingalls Table at ingalls-markets.com or swing by the store and pick up your free copy of the Ingalls Table magazine. And let's get cooking. Ingalls, low prices, love the savings.
They've got a great band, and we've got a great band. We're going to compete as a band. Well done. I'm guessing that's the quote you're talking about, Zach. It's a good one. It's a really good one.
What's that?
They've got a great band, and we've got a great band. We're going to compete as a band. Grambling coach.
They do have a great band.
They do.
Can confirm. Seen them many times.
He ain't joking. He's not really joking. He knows. There for the payday. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Although I do wonder if Julian Sayin did indeed just barely win that job, do you let is it Kleinholtz, I believe? Do you let him play any in that game?
Get up again, yeah, absolutely.
Because if he plays and he outplays Julian Sayin, don't you kind of have a controversy? Albeit it will be against Grambling, but you know. Oh, look at that. 2 weeks in a row.
What's up, guys?
Where'd it go?
That you can't tease that, Lonzo. I gotta have a payoff for that.
My finger stuttered. My bad.
Did you say my finger stuttered?
Yeah. It's what happens when you're old and get the shakes.
It's the arthritis.
Thank God it's.
Oh, you missed it. What are you doing?
Sorry, my mouth stuttered.
Thank God it's.
Ladies and gentlemen, the final hour of the day, the final hour of the week, and the final hour of the NFL offseason. It's not the offseason anymore.
I thought you were going to pass out or something. That was amazing.
No, I was leaning into it. Little extra gas, little extra energy, little extra adrenaline this AM because my dudes and dudettes. We had Eagles Cowboys last night. We got Chiefs Chargers tonight. And then this glorious Sunday, we all sit down around televisions across the upstate of South Carolina. We turn on 7 hours of commercial interrupted football because the NFL Week 1 is, I know. And I got to tell you.
Why you got to bring up the bad stuff? I mean, you know, it just, wow.
You know, sometimes in real life, you got to take the bad with the good. sometimes in real life, you just got to acknowledge that football is beautiful. It's a beautiful thing. We all love it. We all appreciate it. And unfortunately, there are some folks out there in suits and ties who care more about their bank account than they care about your happiness. And you've got to, at least for 3.5 hours every Sunday or Monday or Thursday or sometimes Friday, take it, put it aside, put it in the back of the brain, let the lizard brain, the caveman come through and just go, football good, me happy. And that's what happened last night. That's what's going to happen tonight. That's what's going to happen all damn day on Sunday. But while the main course is served up on Sunday, there's something else beautiful happening around the upstate of South Carolina tonight. There's something else glorious around the upstate of South Carolina this evening. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is football at its most beautiful and pure. It's high school football night around the upstate, ladies and gentlemen. And if we're going to get you all set up to talk a little high school football around the upstate of South Carolina, who in Hades' name would we bring on to talk high school football? Then the fellas from the Moving the Chains pod. And we got an elite duo today, an elite combo of the fellas today, because joining us today, John Epps makes his return. Jarrell Hendricks graces us with his presence once more. Boys, how we doing, fellas?
Doing great this morning. How are you?
Hey, John, thank you. Thank you for being so courteous and professional in your response. It's appreciated.
Yeah, back-to-back weeks, man. It's so good to join you guys again. Appreciate you having me back. It's going to be fun talking some high school football. We got the appetizer for the main course this weekend.
I like it.
Speaking of that, I'm trying to figure out what's behind.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, did you ask your grandma for permission to broadcast from her basement?
You know,
yeah.
I'm at the real job, so I'm at work, and I decided to grace you guys on the clock too. So don't tell anybody. Double dip.
It's okay. We're both big fans of produce, so we're good.
I was sitting here about to give Jarrell hell for broadcasting from Grammy's basement, and my man drops, "I'm in the break room at my real job, you moron."
Hey, just keep it on the hush. We got to talk high school football, though. That's more important than getting a paycheck today.
Hell yeah. That's my guys. That's why we bring John Epps and Jarrell Hendricks from the Moving the Chains pod every Friday to talk, to set you up with a little high school football conversation. So let's get to it, boys. Let's kick it off, fellas. Dorman back at the crib tonight. John Boy taking on Greenwood. Give me some thoughts.
Yeah, this is an exciting ball game. Two programs that showed a lot of improvement last year, and they are hot out the gates here in 2025. Dorman, 2 games under their belt. They've given up 1 score. Defense looks really, really good again. But this year looks like they've got some offense to match that good defense. They look really strong. On the other end, you got Greenwood, who really put up some points last week. They scored 48 points in their opener. They look to continue some big momentum that they had last year. This is going to be a really, really fun game over in Dorman. I'm not sure we're going to see a defensive battle. I'm not sure we're going to see a shootout, but I know we got a good chance to see a really, really good ball game here. I'm going to take Dorman at home just for that reason, a little home cooking. This is going to be a great game, and 2 teams that are going to look really strong throughout the year, I think.
I like it. Jarrell, a game I'm really interested in because I've gotten the opportunity to see these 2 teams play, not this year, but in years gone by. And these are a pair of teams that I think if you said you had to pick teams to define the word grit, it might be these 2 squads. Wren at Powdersville.
Well, I mean, they both take leadership from their coaches when you talk about the grit there. I mean, you got Coach Freight over at Wren, got Coach Muster at Powdersville. I mean, just 2 of the best that we have in the state of South Carolina, and they happen to be located here in the upstate. These are 2 of my favorite programs to follow throughout the year. This is a cool little community rivalry, too. with Powdersville breaking off from Wren a few years back. And, they've gone at it. These are two really good football programs and have been for a long time now. Wren sitting at 2-0 here, had some big wins over Palmetto and Easley, won handily. They've really leaned on Montu Brown, new running back there. He's averaging like 160 yards a game, so he's really getting after it. Carson Bryant at receiver, and it's allowed their new quarterback to kind of get settled in. But as you can see, I mean, they've given up 21 points this year combined, so the defense has really been their calling card. When you talk about Powdersville here, the Patriots stumbled out the gate, lost to Seneca in a tight one and a very good Bobcats team there, but bounced back in a huge way, knocking off Abbeville. So the Patriots, again, they're like you said, a gritty bunch. Love their quarterback, Keegan Reed. If you get the opportunity to go see him, this kid can sling the pill. He is a big kid, can throw off platform, really fun to watch. But it should be an exciting matchup. I like Wren a little bit more here to go on the road and win this one, but it should be a fantastic rivalry game.
So because of that, real quick, before we get to the next couple of games, Jarrell Hendricks, is it morphing into, is it going to morph into, like, is that going to be one of them, like, deep running rivalries that we look forward to every year?
Oh, certainly. I mean, it's already there, man. I mean, it's literally, you have a school in that tight-knit community. I mean, it's one of the fastest growing areas in the state, right there, that Piedmont, Powdersville area, butts up right against Greenville County. So, I mean, yeah, I mean, it's kind of, I would say, not nasty. It's a friendly rivalry because, I mean, up until a few years ago, I mean, these kids probably went to school together. But it's been really fun to see because they're really good programs. I mean, these are state title contenders year in and year out. So it's really, really good football.
I like it. All right, speaking of another couple of teams that have bumped heads a few times, John Epps, Gaffney, the Indians coming down to take on Greenville.
Yeah, Gaffney breaking in new to head coach after the long-standing career they had. And now, as Jarrell, you got to help me out. I'm forgetting his name now.
Scoot Watson. Are you talking about Gaffney?
Yeah, Scoot Watson at Greenville, which is off to a great start with Greenville. Let's talk about Greenville. Greenville, they started their season off with Dorman, didn't score a point. Boy, they bounced back last week, and they do the same to a Riverside team that we think is pretty good, especially on the offensive end. So Greenville, a little bit of a, what are we going to see tonight? They had one game where they didn't do a whole lot, and then last week, boy, they really showed us something. I think they're going to be really competitive in this, and I got it, post Dan Jones Gaffney program. I think it's going to be a really competitive game. Gaffney, they shut out J.L. Mann last week, suffered a loss against a Charlotte powerhouse in Independence in the first game of the year. I think we're going to see a competitive game. I expect Gaffney to win this game, but Rob, Alonzo, I tell you what to watch tonight with Greenville. This is a big measuring stick for the Red Raiders. They did not have a good year last year. Scoot Watson's a proven commodity here in the upstate coming from JL Mann. If they keep this game competitive for 48 minutes, look out for the Red Raiders. I think they could be in for a pretty strong season here.
I like it, Jarrell. Let's skip on down to West Side. They'll take on and host TL Hanna.
Just realized I was keeping it in Anderson County, man. This is going to be a fun one, too. Now, this one can get a little nasty here in the Electric City. This is a rivalry that's long-standing. Also, two premier programs, two state title contenders year in and year out with Hanna and Westside. But both of them, looking for their first loss of the season. TL Hanna went over to Burns week 0, suffered the defeat in the opening of the new Nixon Field there. And then Westside, they took a long trip for a whooping. They went down to Alabama and faced Vestavia Hills. No shame in that. Vestavia Hills is one of the premier programs in Alabama, sometimes nationally ranked, but they took one on the chin there. This one should be really fun. Talking about contrasting styles here. We all know TL Hanna runs that little veer option. They're more about the guys on the name on the front of the jersey in the back, so they're going to rotate running backs in there, really get after it, play some tough defense. And then Westside, they like to air it out. Quarterback, Bear Woods, younger brother of Cutter Woods, the freshman. He's already about 6'3", 6'4". Big lefty slinging the pill. So you'll hear that name for years to come. A lot of playmakers there, especially on the defensive side. Christian Webb Scott gets after it on the D-line. Jax Wilson, always have skill positions. Zion Paul playing receiver and Keelan Powell at running back. And then Westside, they do have a big-time tight end commit in Walker Kelly, who's going to Wofford. But more so, they're a team. It's a team game for the Teal Hanna Yellow Jackets. They want to ground and pound, drag the game out, and basically Westside wants to play basketball on the football field.
Nothing more American, gentlemen, than monster trucks, apple pie, the solo to Leonard Skinner's Freebird, and high school teams running the triple option. That's just the definition of the red, white, and blue. Let's keep going. We got a couple more games scattered around the area that the boys put on the list to break down for the Rob Brown Show here on the Fan Upstate. John Epps, Jarrell Hendricks from the Moving the Chains podcast. And I'll let you guys break down whoever wants to take whatever game. Let's go with St. Joseph's at Mountain View.
Yeah, this is two squads that are 2-0. St. Joseph's, stepping up a couple classes with the reclassification with the high school league. Took their lumps last year, but they've started out 2-0 this year. I think they're a much improved team, much improved program. Mountain View, also 2-0. This is a group that lost a lot of talent last year, but they have bounced back strong here to start the season. Somebody's going to have to get their first loss, but I think we got two pretty good teams. Mountain View at home. I like the Stars to win this one.
There's not a lot better than one of those games, especially when those games take place in week 2, 3, 4. Not a lot better than when somebody has to take L number 1. Because, you're playing for the name, you're playing for the colors, you're playing for the student body. But keep it a buck, boys. You get into that game where if you drop the L, it's L1, and they are going to put it in the face. There's not much better than that between the goal lines.
Not at all. We got the same thing here, Woodruff and Emerald, the next game on the list. Somebody's got to take an L in this one. Woodruff, they're my state title contender pick. I have them in the state championship game. I really love this team, breaking in a new quarterback. But if you see Aiden Gibson, he reminds me of James Wilder Jr., just a physical big back. I like Woodruff to win this one. Emerald is very much improved, had a nice win over TR last week. But give me the Wolverines in this one.
Seneca at West Oak.
Once again, we stay with the theme of undefeated teams. Seneca, they normally start out pretty hot, but for West Oak, this is the story. I want to put this game on because I want to give a little shout out to West Oak. This is a program. People aren't typically talking about them, and if they are, it's probably not good because they have been losing a lot of games. But this year, they're 2-0. And I think Seneca wins this game, but boy, the electricity they're going to have at this ball game, being 2-0, having a chance to go 3-0. And if they beat Seneca tonight, look out. I don't think they do, but hey, you got to line up, you got to play the game, and they deserve a shout out for starting off the season 2-0.
We don't play the game on paper, John Epps. We play it on grass. Jarrell Hendricks wrap us up with JL Man at Daniel.
When it goes to the Patriots, man's been one of my favorite teams to watch over the last few years. But Coach Watson goes over to Greenville High. They lost a ton of seniors on this team, and quite frankly, they're just not very good this year. They've really struggled out the gate. They're 0-2 so far, and then they got to go travel to play a Daniel team that's also coming off a loss, and a team that's not used to losing, especially at home. They fell to a very difficult Stratford team last week. So I think they're going to be a rowdy bunch over there in Pickens County. I think man goes to 0-3. Unfortunately, I think it's going to be a long season for these guys. But I think Daniel gets some get right in this game.
The boys from the Moving the Chains pod join us every Friday at 9 a.m. to break down the high school football game action across the area. You can find them on their website, movingchains.com. No G in that, movingchains.com. And, of course, find them on social media at Moving Chains on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. The podcast available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Google. Fellas, you guys are pretty good at this. You should start a podcast or something.
I would like to think so.
We need a fearless leader.
Yeah,
our fearless leader. He's on the golf course right now, so we'll see what happens with that.
Every year, we are 2 weeks. We're not even 2 weeks into the season, and my man's taking a golf vacation from the Rob Brown Show already.
It's gonna rain all morning.
Yeah,
not
even going out on a good sunny day. He bailed out. He asked y'all to handle the workload responsibly to go play golf on a crappy day in week 2.
I heard he's taking it down to Charleston, though. So, he's really playing some golf today.
John Epps, I'm going to agree with what you said. You need a fearless leader.
Jarrell and I are great coming out of the backfield, but we need that quarterback.
Gotta have it. And KT just out here throwing 2.5 yards behind cornerbacks in the leadership department. It's unbelievable. Unbelievable. Hey, John Epps, is Cade Klubnik good or bad?
I'll tell you right now, he is good, but man, he is got to get it right between the years. Because in big time games against Texas,
he stinks.
He showed up.
He stunk in every big time game. How much of that do you put on Dabo demanding Garrett run the Clemson offense, Garrett being boring on the play calling, or maybe we've just hit the roof? Where's the slider on that scale?
I'm looking more so at Coach Riley. I want to see more conducive to our players. Let's get some more confidence going with our team. I think we've got some good tools, and hey, we were one play away from being right in that ball game Saturday. So you were
also a blown touchdown call away from being 2 scores out of that program. Jarrell, is he right or wrong? Give it to me.
I got to disagree with my co-host here. I mean, third-year starter Cade Klubnik did not look good. I will say I'm not a fan, and this could be controversial, the air raid scheme in general. Love Hal Mumme, love Mike Leach. Those guys are very much innovators, but when it comes to big-time programs and physical defenses, that scheme really doesn't hold up. Me and Rob watched the game a few years ago with TCU playing Georgia in the national championship, and it got ugly quick, and we had to fill it in with conversation. So I think Cade is just not progressing in a way that he should as a Heisman contender and a third-year starter. And I think the whole system probably needs a reboot.
And now I send John Epps and Jarrell Hendricks off the rest of their day after starting a fight. Thanks for being here, boys. Talk to you next Friday. Y'all have a good one. Jarrell, get your ass back to work.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. You too.
Later on, boys. John Epps, Jarrell Hendricks from the Moving the Chains pod. Again, find them at movingchains.com. Find us back here after this break on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Hey, just remember, no spitting on each other. All right? It's against the rules. Can't do it.
Told you I'm not a Cowboys fan anymore. They can't hurt me.
I feel like you say that out loud, Jarrell, and I feel like in your heart you're struggling right now.
I mean, was that not such a Cowboys game last night?
That was what the hell was CeeDee Lamb? What is CeeDee Lamb? What is CeeDee Lamb? How do you have the ball game of your life and then drop 3 gimmies? That's ugly.
That's just the Cowboys, man. That's what they do. They hurt people.
I didn't see the fourth quarter. He didn't drop him in the fourth quarter, did he?
Oh, yeah.
All 3 of them in the fourth quarter. 2 of them on a drive that would have given them the lead inside of 2 minutes to play. Hit him in the hands, John. John, these are not like tried to make a circus catch, took it off the fingertips. I mean, Dak was hitting him in the friggin' face mask coming across the middle unguarded, and it just it's ugly. I've never seen anything like it.
Dak looked healthy. He was moving around.
Dak looked great, and I'm tired of Cowboys fans putting it on Dak. Other than injuries, Dak has been great for y'all, and I'm tired of the Dak hate. It's unacceptable.
I don't know who the y'all is you're referencing, but yeah, Dak's been pretty good. He's been solid. He's a solid quarterback.
I mean, you Cowboys fans, Jarrell. That's what I mean.
Hey, Cowboys won me money last night. +8, baby. We covered.
Yeah, I got them at 8.5. Same boat. Hell yeah. Love to hear it. Love to hear it.
Easy money.
All right, fellas. Appreciate y'all.
Thanks, Rob.
Be good, fellas. See ya. wasn't gonna, but I'm gonna complain about the red zone thing. It's Friday. I don't care. Why? ESPN, why? Man. Like, when ESPN got the rights to red zone a couple of months ago,
everyone knew what was going to happen.
Yeah. I said on this show, I'm like, guys, go ahead and mentally prepare yourself because we're getting 7 hours of commercial interrupted red zone. And it was no doubt. And listen, I don't know what the format's going to be. I don't know if it's going to be like full screen commercials. I don't know if it's going to be like they do the thing where they put the commercials in a big box on one side and then they move the octo box over to the other side.
That's what I'm seeing on X. I'm also seeing a bunch of supposedly people canceling their subscriptions. I don't know how accurate that is, but I'm seeing a lot of that.
Yeah, and again, it's one of those things where
it's still red zone. I mean, turn your sound down as long as they have the game's up.
It's a principle thing, man. It's a principle thing. And you know that, and I know that. And we know that we all have spots where we draw a line in the sand and we really do act. I think for a lot of people, a lot of it is what's the millennial word? Virtue. It's virtue signaling for a lot of people. I'm going to complain that I'm better than and don't like and will not participate in this thing, but I'm also unwilling to actually sacrifice the thing that I like. I'm just going to tell you that I'm doing that. It's why the NFL rankings after the Colin Kaepernick year, everybody was canceling the NFL, and then literally none of you did. It's the same thing, right? It's the NBA put social justice messaging on the court. I'm out, and then their ratings went up and they got more money. No, you're not, and it's okay. It's fine. I get it. I understand it. I read a study not terribly long ago that something like 82% of people who like post workout videos on their social media, that's the only workout that they did. And they just take video of it. And it's about the dopamine hit, right? To have this dopamine by playing the role of this person who has, I'm standing up for this. And then it's just easier not to do that. Here's the thing. I'll keep it a buck. I'm not getting rid of red zone. I'm not watching red zone. I am just going to complain about it a lot because, again, when we've gotten to the point we've gotten to in sports where every freaking place that my eyeballs might be, there is advertisement. Genuinely. I used to, when I was going to Saints games down in New Orleans, when I lived down in Florida, and I'd go over to like 2 or 3 Saints games a year. One of my favorite things is that there's a place right next to the Superdome called Champion Square. And it's basically, it's like a public tailgate party, right? Like it's a big open area, and they put on concerts and they have food vendors. So if you don't have like a spot to go tailgate, you just go to Champion Square. It's just a big public tailgate. And it used to be great because all around Champion Square, there's like a hotel and there's like a restaurant and a bar and stuff. And in front of those places, they would put up those big like vinyl screens, but they would have huge pictures of Sam Mills and Ricky Jackson and Archie Manning and all the great Saints players from over the years of my terrible franchise. And that was always like, it was cool because people would go around and they like take pictures with these things and tell stories or whatever. And then like 2-3 years ago, I went back down to a Saints game, and all of those old pictures of all of the Saints legends and icons over the years were gone and just replaced by just advertisements for restaurants and advertisements for bars and advertisements for merchandise or whatever. And it's like, it just kind of took away from the aura of the place, right? Like, it was awesome to walk into Champion Square and literally be surrounded by the history and the legacy and the tradition, of which there's not a lot, but to be surrounded by the history and the legacy and the tradition of the great Saints gone by that never won anything, but hey, we loved them anyway. And now it's like, come buy a ring for your wife. Like, no, show me. Like, I want to see Ricky Jackson. I want to see Sam Mills. I want to see Craig Ironhead Hayward. Like, I want to see the dudes, man. So we live in this world where just every second of every day and every place that your eyeballs might come across has got to be filled up with an ad now. So the reason Red Zone was so beloved is because, and this is the part that, like, I genuinely don't think it makes sense to me. The reason that Red Zone was so beloved was because of the fact that, especially in the early window, there's 8, 9, 10 football games happening. And if you are, I will say, more so than college football, if you are an NFL fan, you pay probably close to as much attention to the other teams as you do to your own, right? Like, I'm a Saints fan. Even if I'm not doing a radio show that dials in on the NFL, even if I'm just Rob Brown Saints fan, man, I'm watching what Carolina's doing. I'm watching what Tampa's doing. I'm watching what Atlanta's doing. I'm watching what Detroit and Chicago and Minnesota are doing. I'm watching what everybody's doing. And when you have 8 or 9 or 10 football games happening at one time, I could go to Red Zone and I could, in real time, keep up with everything that was happening. And now I can't. Because even if they go big boxes and then little boxes over here, you're still putting the important thing that I care about over here so you can show me another ad from Jake from State Farm. And while, don't get me wrong, I genuinely find you need this trainer, but you got this trainer, Megan trainer. Commercial's hilarious. Like, I love them. It just feels like
for Patrick. He does sports.
Yeah, he does sports. Why is no one clapping? I love that. I really like that commercial. I think they're very good.
Here's my biggest concern is do not ruin the montage at the end of all.
That is
all the
absolutely
touchdowns.
not the biggest concern. It's a huge part of it.
Because I don't, if they do what they're saying and they fill up a couple boxes and the commercials are in the box, I can ignore the commercials. I can turn the sound down and I can just watch the game that I'm interested in. But if there's going to be, and I don't know if there is, if there's a title sponsor for the final montage,
Dude, you know good and damn well
and
there
there's
will
going to be a big, I don't know, Coors Light thing or something right there the entire time, like taking up the edge, that would be annoying.
You know there's going to be. Because, again, you're not allowed to have a freaking centimeter of available space that doesn't slap an ad on to it. Again, like, so I saw yesterday, I saw the picture of of Carolina's field and the big yellow ads. And again, good on that Caterpillar dealership / rental agency for going all in and putting the money on the table, because you can't run a successful college football program anymore without having the dollar bills, y'all. Good on them for buying in and founding a partnership, or I guess expanding a partnership with South Carolina. Good on them for creating a relationship where they go, we're going to put X amount of millions of dollars into the pot so that the Carolina Gamecocks can go out there and compete with teams that have unlimited money turned on, like Georgia and like Tennessee. Good on them. But even with you applauding that dealership, which I do, for buying in, those palm tree logos on that field were just like iconic, dude. Like, it was just something that made that field stand out and be unique and have its own personality and character. And they're not there anymore. They're not there anymore. We're getting progressively more, everything looks like a NASCAR fire suit, which is ads everywhere. The Red Zone is sacred, man. It's sacred. It is the one place I could go on Sunday and just honestly feel like football's the most important thing. Football, me, I, the viewer, the watcher, the listener, I'm the most important thing happening right now. And now it doesn't. Now even the red zone is now just like, hey, you're the product, bud. You're the product. You're being used here. We are doing this just to get you. Not the other way around. Not this is important for us because of you. No. We're only doing this so that we can sell you to these companies. Have fun. I don't know, man. It just, I don't know. I probably sound too woke right now. I don't know what to tell you. It stinks. Red Zone was special, and now it's welcome to 7 hours of commercial interrupted football. Anyway, I'll see y'all when I watch Red Zone all day on Sunday. Back after this on the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate. "30 seconds, guys. We'll be right back." All right, something real quick to run through here, and then I gotta drop the elbow on a real bad "hey, look at me" take that somebody had a little while ago. You remember a real long time ago when I did a whole segment complaining about there being commercials on Red Zone? You remember that? I know it was a while ago.
That was.
I know it's been a minute.
So distant. I barely remember that.
Yeah. I find accountability important, even when you are holding yourself accountable for something that you said so far in the distant past that honestly, it probably shouldn't even be archived.
Yeah, people listening probably won't even remember, and you're bringing it up.
Yeah, and that's because I believe in personal responsibility and accountability here on the show. Apparently, according to Awful Announcing, which is a wonderful website, by the way. It's one of my favorites to go to. According to Awful Announcing, Red Zone is going to have 4 15-second commercial breaks. The details reported by Front Office Sports say that Hanson's new tagline could accurately be, quote, 6 hours and 59 minutes of commercial-free football starts now, because there will have 4 ads throughout the entire 7-hour telecast. However, in week 1, with each ad lasting a mere 15 seconds. Additionally, as multiple outlets are reporting, the ads will utilize a split screen with game action still occurring on half of the screen. Front Office Sports reported via a source in the know that they will start with 4 15-second ads, but, quote, the ad load could change later on in the season. Front Office Sports also reporting that the addition of the advertisements to Red Zone is not a byproduct of ESPN's recent deal with the NFL. The source is quoted by FOS as saying, quote, this move has been contemplated and tested for over a year now and is completely unrelated to the recent news regarding ESPN and the NFL. All right. We're looking at 420 minutes of broadcast and 60 seconds of commercial. I still don't like it, but I'll tolerate it.
Do you believe it, though? I mean, I don't know. I guess we'll find out Sunday.
I mean, I was going to say, we'll find out. I'll find out because I will 1,000% have the Red Zone on.
Oh, never a Sunday goes by where I have access to Red Zone that I don't watch it for some period of time.
Also, I got a text from a buddy of the show. I shan't reveal the name because I feel like I already know what the response is going to be here. But I got a text from a buddy the other day that said, "Am I the only person who is not a fan of Scott Hanson?" And I was like, "Dude, I think you are.
Might
I think you might actually be."
Yeah, you don't want to out that guy.
Yeah, I don't, because he's not a cat that I know to be contrarian for the sake of being contrarian. Like, he's a dude I respect the sports takes from. But, yeah, he's like, am I the only guy that's not a Hanson guy? And I'm like, I think you might be. And I'm not talking about bop, woocha bop, now doo-wop. I'm talking about Scott.
Well, how could you hate Hanson the band either?
You grew up when Hanson was big.
No,
that's the answer.
No,
all the girls you had a crush on at the time ignored you because of Hanson. That's how. You
could have dyed your hair. I mean, you could have tried.
No, at that age, I wasn't allowed to have long hair, so there was no happening. Hey, Ryan, of all of the takes that have ever been taked on sports radio, Ryan Clark had one of them. Oh, dadgummit. That would have been a super good tease there.
Yeah, that's my
fault. I blew it. No, it's not. I didn't have my speakers changed over.
Hey, would you let me take the L here?
Of all the takes that have ever been taked, Ryan Clark had one of them.
Few of them. I think there's less than what you think. I think John Elway was a generational talent. I think Patrick Mahomes is a generational talent. I don't think Tom Brady, I don't think Drew Brees, I don't think Peyton Manning are generational talents. I think Andrew Luck ended up being a generational talent. I don't think there's a ton of them out there.
But so then what? Then how does one, in your eyes, be a generational talent? Because there's not a lot of difference.
Production. Let me.
No, Stephen A., I will not let you interrupt. That's from ESPN's First Take. Ryan Clark said there's not a lot of generational quarterbacks. Fine. But then he said John Elway, Patrick Mahomes, Andrew Luck, generational quarterback. Tom Brady, Drew Brees, Peyton Manning, not generational quarterbacks. And I listened to that a couple of times during the break. And I came up with this response after spinning it through the noodle a handful of times.
Could Drew Brees run?
My response to Ryan Clark is, what? 7-time Super Bowl champion Tom Brady is not generational? Peyton Manning, multi-time Super Bowl champion. Drew Brees won a Super Bowl in New Orleans.
I just want to say, out of the 3 that he mentioned, 2 of them could be considered game managers. Drew Brees would not be one of those.
If you think Peyton Manning is a game manager,
game manager is not a bad. It's not a bad thing. It's not.
I don't disagree.
Yeah, it's not.
He wasn't one. He was in
Denver.
Now, yes, he was in Denver when he was at the ass end of his career. Indianapolis, Peyton Manning was not, in prime. Peyton Manning was not a game manager. Tom Brady was not a game manager. Drew Brees was not a game manager. All three of those
Tom Brady
dudes.
is the definition of game manager.
He's absolutely not.
And he always will be.
He's absolutely
But you know what he definitely is also? Generational.
He is generational.
He is. When you think of game manager, he is pinnacle. He is who you should aspire to be.
You think of game manager. But even if I agree with that, at least you're willing to say he's generational.
Oh, for sure.
I have to tell you, I have defended Ryan Clark from the great one Lonzo for years now. I got nothing, dude. You what?
I do love
7-time Super Bowl champion.
I love all the videos being posted of Tom Brady roasting Ryan Clark on the field, throwing touchdowns over him. I think that's great.
Ryan Clark, for your sake, you should say Tom Brady and Peyton Manning are generational.
Listen, I don't like hardly any of Ryan Clark's takes, but he's doing his job. He's getting people to discuss his takes, and he's keeping his name out there. Whether I like his takes or not, what he's doing is working. And that's why he still works there.
I hate it so much because you're right. I'm baited here. I'm Jalen Cartered right now.
I'm still mad because you stole that, because I got within 20 minutes of being able to use that on What the X, but that's
but then it would have just been the only thing we talked about.
Probably.
I got people, do me a favor. If you're watching something, if you're listening to something, I'm including myself in this. If you're watching something, if you're listening to something, whatever, if you are consuming some sort of media and you hear somebody say something that full of complete and total dumbery, turn it off. Just immediately on the spot.
Also, the Andrew throwing Andrew Luck in there. I mean, I don't. Was Andrew Luck generational? Maybe if he stayed healthy.
If he stayed healthy and he played longer, yeah. And for the record, good on Andrew Luck for deciding he was done.
I was going to say, but he didn't.
Yeah.
So,
like, good on him for being done when he was done and realizing I don't got the love for the game anymore, so I'm out. If Andrew Luck had played another 5, 6, 7 years, if he would have, even gotten the Colts back to being in the mix for the Super Bowl, I think he probably could have been in that conversation.
Andrew Luck was more worried about being able to function as a human being.
Andrew Luck was more worried about just being able to have a conversation at the end of his career.
And especially someone as intelligent as he is, thinking about how he would be losing brain function.
Yeah. Listen, if you hear somebody make a statement like that, and I'm including me in this, do the opposite of what I just did. Ignore it and turn it off.
And now, the Rob Brown Show presents Twitter.
All right, time for the final What the X is going on. Although you may think what the X is going on yourself eventually. You're not going to interrupt me with that, are you? Are you going to do that?
I'll save it for the very end.
Because, you can just have it because you want to interrupt me with that take when I was going to talk about it being National Cheese Pizza Day. I mean, how does that take compare to National Cheese Pizza Day?
This is hot food take number 2. Cheese pizza's dumb.
Cheese
pizza's dumb.
I don't get cheese pizza.
I don't get cheese pizza.
Little kids tend to want cheese pizza. I don't understand that either. I've
Yes.
seen that generational. I've seen that.
Cheese pizza goes in the same group that Uncrustables go into. You're not a child. You're not a child. Be an adult. If you want peanut butter and jelly, make yourself a damn sandwich. And if you go, well, I can't eat it if it got the crust on it. Mom, can you cut the crust off and also cut it diagonal? Because I don't like it when you cut it straight down the middle. Grow up.
Joe, I see what you're doing. You're just trying to get your take mentioned anyway by giving another one.
No, cheese pizza, Joey B. Cheese pizza is not awesome. Why would you just get the base of a pizza when there is an infinite world of things you can put on top of it to have a more complex taste?
What if, and I agree with you, but what if you have like 4 or 5 cheeses? A bunch of different. You still
Well,
don't
then
have.
it's not a cheese pizza. Then it's like a 4 cheese pizza or a 5 cheese
but
pizza.
you still
or a 3
don't
cheese
have.
pizza.
You still don't have any meat.
But even
you
still,
don't have. I mean, you don't
It
have.
doesn't have to
some
be
veggies.
Rob Brown will crush a veggie pizza.
I love a veggie
crush
pizza.
a veggie pizza. But you just cheese. Mom, cut the crust off my sandwich, please. Grow up.
Okay, Joe says because you can taste how good the sauce, cheese, and crust are. I agree. I mean, I'm a sauce guy, but I gotta have a little something more than cheese on it. All right, the next.
So you're telling me if I put pepperoni on it, I can get away with ass pizza sauce because you
No,
don't
you
taste
can't.
it?
No, you
Exactly.
can't. You can't.
Exactly.
All right, the next thing that's Xing is Brock Lesnar.
Got nothing.
All right, tonight rumored that he's going to be on SmackDown tonight. It's also rumored that this will be John Cena's final SmackDown.
Really?
Yes.
September 20th is WrestlePalooza, and then his final show like December 18th or something like that?
Probably, but he may be doing other stuff. He does have a career other than wrestling.
Yes,
so
he is actively a superhero.
He is. Well, kind of. Yeah, and as Austin is threw up there, AJ Lee rumored to show up too, but also rumored
Light it up
that it's going to be Rhea Ripley and not AJ Lee, and then AJ Lee will show up at WrestlePalooza. We'll see. All right, the next
that would be if you don't have AJ Lee come out in Chicago, it'll be the biggest missed pop in decades.
Agreed. The next thing it's Xing is Michael Keaton.
Michael Keaton's Xing because Michael Keaton played in Allison Batman. I don't care what anybody says.
All right, today is his birthday.
Michael Keaton's 82.
Oh no, he's not that old. He's 74.
Okay.
And finally, the last thing it's Xing, and I tried to look and figure out why this is Xing, and I could not figure it out. Spitting is Xing for some reason.
People, a word of advice from your friendly neighborhood sports talk radio show host. If you are going to go Google spitting, do it on your personal laptop because the internet's weird. And there's people out there who they get their jollies in weird ways.
Don't make me dump you again.
So if you're going to Google spitting randomly today because you want to find out exactly what got said to or by Jalen Carter, make sure that you put spitting, Jalen Carter, Cowboys, Eagles, football, TV. Like put as many keywords as you can because if you leave any flexibility out there at all, you're going to get taken to some really, really weird sites that your boss would probably not approve of. So just be careful.
Appreciate the PSA. Way to go.
I'm here for the people. I'm a man of the people. Thanks for being here. Hope you enjoyed the show. If you didn't, it's your fault. You have bad taste in radio. But come back Monday, and we'll try again and harder. We'll break down College Week 2, NFL Week 1, and whatever other shenanigans take place this weekend. He's Lonzo. I'm Rob. Have a great weekend. Don't drink and drive. I'll punch you in the face. See you back here Monday on The Rob Brown Show. And the fan upstate. Later.
Let me tell you, you don't know ball.
I got a B+ on my.
Yeah, but still. I'm
B+
glad
from the guy
you
who
know
gives
me
himself.
well enough to know that I was going to do that, and I thought you killed it, and so did he. He looked shocked at how good you did it. So.
Oh!
No, thank you, Austin.
Yes, thank you, Austin. Pleasure's mine. Yes,
it's
Austin,
ours.
this
He's
is
such
why,
an eye guy. You know?
This is why I encourage you to have at least 5 TVs in every room in your house for nights like tonight. Garlic cheese pizza is great. Again, Steven, garlic pizza great. Cheese on a pizza, that's your base.
Generally, doesn't most pizza have garlic in it? I think.
I mean, everything I do does. Garlic butter. If I make homemade pizza, which I do sometimes, What's the Irish butter company? The Irish butter you can buy. Killarn's butter. I think it's Killarn's. You can buy Killarn's butter in sticks at the store. Here's what I do. Killarn's makes a garlic butter in a stick. It's already garlic buttery. Take that, melt it, put in more garlic. All right. 1 clove of fresh garlic, smash it, cut it up, grind it down real thin, put that in there, melt it all together, rub that around the crust before you bake it. Okay? Before you bake it. If you put it on after you bake it, it just sits on the top.
Kerrygold?
Is it Kerrygold? Maybe it is Kerrygold.
Yeah, because I mean,
yes, it is Kerrygold. That is exactly. Where'd I get Killarn from? That's an actual Irish place.
I've heard Kerrygold so many times.
Yeah,
I don't know from where, but yeah.
Yeah. But again, why would you get just cheese when you can get literally anything? Hi, Tiffy. Good to see you, buddy. I hope all is going exceptionally well for you. It's been a very long time.
That was really loud.
I'm a loud guy.
In your standard, I mean, it's just, yeah.
I did something yesterday. I don't remember what it was, but Courtney asked me something at the restaurant yesterday. And I don't know why I responded, but I yelled a response. So like a regular conversation. I yelled. She's like, why was that so loud? And I'm like, I don't know the answer to that. I was not intentional. All right, got a jet, everybody. You're all amazing people. Thanks for being here. Hope you enjoyed the show. If you didn't, as I said earlier, it's your fault. Bye.